As the latest this noon.
AWS said it was seeing significant signs of recovery, saying most sites were back up and running, but we're still seeing a few problems linger, so it's not fully restored just yet.
Yeah, again, new issues here this noon. The disruption believed to have started with the company's Northern Virginia data center, which in turn led to outages worldwide. Atlanta-based Delta Airlines said that they had a small number of flight delays as a result of this. We'll keep an eye on it for you. All right, your weather for today, sunny, afternoon highs around 72. Pretty chilly tonight, overnight lows in the 40s. How's the rest of your work week looking? WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards will have Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast coming up at 12:05. We do have an update this noon on that I-75 road rage crash that we were telling you about over the weekend. It left a person dead. The Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office has now identified the victim, 21-year-old Demaria Jordan. Now, according to the State Patrol, this was a road rage incident that escalated into a shootout between two drivers. One of the drivers got out, walked toward the other driver. The two drivers exchanged gunfire. The 21-year-old driver was hit by an unknown vehicle that drove away from the scene, and a patrol vehicle traveling northbound also hit that driver. The medical examiner has not yet released the cause of death. We'll be watching that for you. The Supreme Court will weigh in on whether a federal law that bars drug users from having guns violates the Second Amendment. Now, the Trump administration urged the justices to look into this. It's the second gun rights case that the High Court will hear this term, a decision expected to come by next summer. And former President Biden's son, Hunter, was convicted under the same law in June of 2024 before being pardoned. This is new at noon. A Fulton County group that tracks homelessness is out with a new report today.
The Fulton County Continuum of Care identified 241 homeless individuals in the county. 103 were classified as unsheltered, residing in places not fit for humans, while 138, or 57%, were sheltered in emergency shelters or transitional housing programs. The totals represent a decrease of 28.9% since 2024. The goal of the report is to identify and find homeless individuals and connect them to available resources. Lisa Nicholas, 95.5 WSB.
Now let's head to Washington this noon. Happening now, President Trump will be meeting with Australia's Prime Minister today. Karen Travers says the main topic will be trade.
We have a really large trade surplus with Australia, and there's actually very low tariffs on Australian products coming into the United States, 10%. That's the baseline tariff that the Trump administration put on countries around the world. So Australia has benefited from not seeing something more significant than that. But the big issue that they're expected to talk about, according to one of the president's top economic advisors, is rare earth metals, those minerals that are so critical for electronics, semiconductors.
And of course, the U.S. and China are right now in another trade dispute over rare earth minerals. Happening now, Governor Kemp's third annual Workforce Summit is underway at the Georgia Will Congress Center. This year's focus, healthcare jobs. Mark Peavy is chief of staff for the Technical College System of Georgia. He says this summit is pushing to keep education and training here so that we can have trained workers in Georgia.
There's been a ton of work around the effort to keep Georgia the top state for talent and the top place to work and top state for business over the last 13, 14 years.
So the goal is to strengthen the state's talent pipeline, ensuring Georgians are prepared for in-demand jobs and also maintaining the state's competitiveness. The University of Georgia out with its latest enrollment numbers showing more folks from Georgia are becoming Bulldogs.
UGA says its total enrollment this fall rose 1.7% over last year to just under 44,000, and the rise is driven by Georgia students. They make up 83% of all undergrads. UGA says the milestone reflects the university's continued investment in educating and retaining top talent around the state. The freshman class represents 142 of 159 Georgia counties from 463 Georgia high schools. It includes 215 Georgia valedictorians and salutatorians. Cheryl Castro, 95.5 WSB.
All right, here in your lunch hour, check the freezer. A corn dog recall is expanding. Millions of frozen chicken corn dogs are recalled after reports that some may contain pieces of wood. Foster Poultry Farms announcing its recall of about 3.8 million pounds of its chicken corn dog products following complaints of contamination. The issue stemming from pieces of wood found in the batter of the products, which were distributed across the country. Again, this recall is expanding. That's why we're telling you about it again. We have more information at WSBradio.com. Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow's up 263 at 46,453. So the Dow's up more than 0.5%. NASDAQ's up more than a full percent. And the S&P's not far behind. It's time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Let's turn now to the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
We've got some cones that have gone down in Ackworth on I-75 northbound between Highway 92, exit 277, and Old Alatoona Road, exit 283. That's blocking one right lane as you make your way northbound through Ackworth. It's a little slow due to volume as you approach I-285 and enter at Fulton County on I-20 eastbound. You're tapping the brakes between Thornton Road and I-285 there, and you've got that road work in Lawrenceville still slowing you down on Highway 316 in both directions at High Hope Road, one right lane blocked there. I'm George Clark, 95.5 WSB.
Your 5-day forecast sponsored by Shoemate, the official plumber of Atlanta.
Blue skies and sunshine today. Temperatures running about average with a high of 72. Lows tonight in the mid to upper 40s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, an isolated rain shower possible in the afternoon, high 79. Turning breezy for tomorrow night, lows in the mid to upper 40s. Wednesday, sunshine, high 71. Thursday, mostly sunny, morning low 45, afternoon high 73. Friday, partly cloudy skies with highs in the mid 70s.
All right, we'll have more news at 12:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. I am delighted to have you with me. No phones today. My setup is I'm doing it from my house. As you know, if you listen on Friday, my wife was put in the hospital on Friday. She's still there, hoping to get her released. In fact, we got to go to a best of in the 2:00 hour because my son is sick and I've got to take him to the doctor. And then I got to check on my wife. We're hoping if she's not discharged this afternoon, it'll be in the morning. So life is kind of discombobulated. So just bear with me here as we get with the show, and I will keep you updated on all of that stuff. But first, we've got to start with Boomer Selma. That's no King's Day on Saturday. I don't know if you saw the pictures from around the country. I was struck by how old and white it was. Now, if you're a progressive, you'll get very defensive and say, but, there was someone young there. Yes, there was someone non-white there. There was someone Hispanic there. There was someone young there, but overwhelmingly, it was a bunch of old white people. Here's what's going on. The old white people right now were partying in high school during the civil rights movement, and they've been in search of a bridge to cross ever since. They couldn't cross the bridge at Selma, and so they want one to cross, and so whenever there's a protest, they show up at protest. And yes, there were certainly, I've heard from well-meaning people who were moved by the spirit to go protest. I've gotten emails from people who they were moved by the spirit. They felt compelled. They are unhappy with things Donald Trump has done and the Republicans have done, and they decided they needed to go protest on Saturday. Now, many of these people, you should understand, lean to the left to begin with. Most of the people, however, are just professional protesters. They show up. They don't go to church on Sunday. Most of the people who were at these protests on Saturday were not in church on Sunday. Ironically, most of the people upset about the protests on Saturday were not in church on Sunday. Politics has become a religion for all of them. MAGA and anti-MAGA, politics is now the religion for a lot of them. They don't go to church on Sunday. They get worked up about politics. They care greatly for or against the president. I want to start this way, and I beg you to listen to the whole thing. I beg you to listen to the whole thing, whether you're for the president or against the president. I regularly voice concerns about the President of the United States. I think the President of the United States has poor character. I am concerned about blowing up the speedboats in the Caribbean because I'm not sure that I trust that Pete Hegseth is listening to accurate intelligence, and when the commander in charge resigns, that tells me there's a problem. I'm concerned about the president's family's dealings and the cryptocurrency trades from people I suspect are tied to the administration who are profiting off the administration. I'm concerned about the president's prosecutions of political enemies. I'm concerned a great deal about the president's economic policy related to tariffs, some of which he's beginning to walk back. I'm concerned that when the president's supporters hear anything about the president they don't like, they describe the person as an apostate, a heretic, a never-Trumper, and they cannot abide criticism of their president any more than Democrats could abide criticism of Joe Biden back in the day or Barack Obama. I'm concerned about the cult of personality. I'm concerned about all of those things. And yet, I'm more concerned about the Democrats. We had a No Kings protest this weekend. What are they protesting? A democratically elected president of the United States who won the popular vote, who's been enabled by a democratically elected Congress of the United States that the Democrats have decided to shut down, and they can't even be honest that they're the ones who shut it down. And what is the recourse? For boomers to protest in the street and rely on unelected judges who were appointed by the prior president or Barack Obama, who are life tenured and aren't going to be impeached, to stop the agenda of the democratically elected president of the United States. And what do these people want? Open borders flooded with illegal immigrants. They can't even be honest about the numbers of criminals, rapists, drug dealers, and others who are being deported, the gangbangers. They couldn't be honest when Joe Biden was president about Joe Biden's decline and are suddenly obsessed with the mental capacity of Donald Trump. They are pro-abortion zealots. They are anti-Semites. They don't particularly care for democracy themselves. They just don't like being out of power. If I have the choice between one or the other, I will hold my nose and vote for Donald Trump. There are plenty of things about him I disagree with, and I'm willing to say it, unlike a lot of the Democrats who kept their mouths shut when Joe Biden was president, and a lot of the progressives who marched in the street who happened to not like Joe Biden because he wasn't radical enough for them. Remember, these are the people who are very upset and disgusted with Barack Obama for feeling like Barack Obama sold them out. So you'll forgive me if I don't get worked up about this. I had somebody come after me this weekend on social media and say, you know, deep down, you don't like what Trump is doing. And these people marching in the streets make you feel like you have poor character for not standing up. Like, I stand up all the time on my radio show and say when I don't like things, and I get unmitigated hell from Trump supporters for disagreeing with him. I will get complaints from people for this opening monologue because I've criticized him, but I still prefer his policies to the Democratic policies. And what I note is that the people who say they want no kings would be perfectly happy with the king if he hoisted a rainbow flag and declared jihad on the Jews. That's exactly what's happening in this country with the left. They want a king. They just want a progressive king. They want a dictator. Donald Trump is not the one who wants to tell us what sort of car to drive. Donald Trump is not the one who wants us to get rid of our gas stoves. Donald Trump is not the one who wants us to hold our breath and die to save the planet. Donald Trump is not the one demanding we give up cows to save the planet and eat synthetic beef instead. Donald Trump is not the one who wants abortion regimes across the country. And Donald Trump is not the one who makes girls scared because of the boys in the girls' locker room. And it's the progressive elite who want a one-size-fits-all morality policy nationwide dictated by technocrats in Washington, D.C., who force it down the throats of those in rural America and in conservative states. They are perfectly fine with a dictator. Again, as long as the dictator hoists the rainbow flag and declares jihad against the Jews in America, the Democrats are perfectly fine. They're the ones who purposed the myth that this country is founded on racism and support of slavery. They lied about the founding, and they got the New York Times, their major news media mouthpiece, to do it. So spare me your no kings outrage about Donald Trump. You people were fine when Barack Obama and Joe Biden were rounding up pro-life activists who were praying at abortion clinics. You were fine when they were kicking in the door of Trump supporters and dragging them out of the house to the media while they declared that they didn't do that sort of thing. You were perfectly fine with the Democratic excesses of the age. You just don't like it that the Republicans have turned the table on you. If you were morally consistent and clear when Joe Biden was president, I would take you seriously. But all of you people who are marching to no kings and no Donald Trump, you were perfectly fine when Joe Biden was in the White House, and you got mad when anyone questioned Joe Biden's vigor, his mental stamina. You couldn't be honest about it. And for 2 years, Joe Biden let American citizens rot in Hamas tunnels, and you just declared it was the problem for Israel, not for you. And Donald Trump got them freed, and you couldn't, with a bit of intellectual honesty, give the president of the United States, Donald Trump, credit for getting the people released from the tunnels. So spare me your outrage. There are plenty of things about this president I don't like, and I have a large microphone, and I am willing to criticize him. My problem is that those of you who are out there marching in the streets on Saturday really are just doing it because politics has become your religion. You want to go protest because you feel good about yourself. Your daddy fought against the Nazis, and now you declare yourself an anti-fascist, and you're fighting against the American Nazis, who are your friends and neighbors. Or at least they used to be your friends, but you're not friends with them anymore because you're an intolerant boomer who can't be friends with someone who voted for someone in the party opposite, and you just can't walk in their shoes to understand why they might have. You've declared yourself an anti-fascist because your daddy fought against the Nazis, and your life really never amounted to much like that. And so now you've decided you got to go fight Donald Trump and declare him a Nazi so that you feel like you are taking care of daddy because you got daddy issues. The boomers are the most self-absorbed people on planet Earth. And it is not a coincidence that in every part of this country, in every one of the protests, the bulk of the people who were there were older people. Spare me your phone calls. I'm 20 years old, and I went to fight the fascists too. Yes, with your grandmother boomer, you went out there and fought. I'm Hispanic, I'm not white, and I hate Donald Trump. I don't care. You know, too, that when you looked around, the majority of the people there were blue-haired elderly boomers who didn't do much in the 1960s other than smoke weed and laugh at MLK. And now they feel bad about themselves, and they got to do something. I'm just, the performance of all of this. And what are they opposing? They're opposing the democratically elected president of the United States who won the popular vote, and they're upset that he got elected and the Republicans got elected, and they've empowered him, and somehow marching in the streets is going to save America. It makes them feel like they did something. They showed up and voted, and they lost, and now they got to do something else. And still, their party solutions are hated by more people than Donald Trump. The things that they wish to do in this country, most people don't want. And that's the staggering irony of these No Kings protests. They're great calling half the country fascist. In fact, more people fascist than them because Donald Trump won the popular vote. And they don't even want to rationalize why would people do it. They've just decided if you voted for Donald Trump, you're a racist bigot. That's it. The people who voted for Donald Trump bad, they're good. The irony here is they've got to make themselves feel virtuous because back in the 60s, they weren't doing anything to advance civil rights. They were having a good time in high school. Daddy killed Hitler. They got to go after Donald Trump. And they rationalize in their mind it's the same thing. If you felt good on Saturday protesting, good for you. I'm glad. You know what? Donald Trump is president of the United States today. He blew up another boat in the Caribbean. The Republicans are still in charge of the United States House and the United States Senate. And the Democrats are, now that you've had your protest this weekend, thinking of reopening the government without a deal. You accomplished absolutely nothing, but you feel like you did because you saw the large numbers of people with you. And there is power in the numbers of people. There's power in the energy of the crowd. At least you've convinced yourself. But more people voted for Donald Trump than voted for Kamala Harris, and you people were convinced that there was power in those numbers too. Look, you got to make yourself feel good. Some people go to therapy. Some people go to church. Some people go to protest. I understand that many of the people most outraged didn't go to church on Sunday. People outraged by the protesters and the protesters themselves. They've all decided to worship at the altar of politics, and politics will do nothing for your soul except corrode it and corrupt it. You felt good about what you did on Saturday, didn't you? It felt good to go protest. Many of you wanting to call in right now, you were fired up. You saw well-meaning people. You saw neighbors. You thought, I didn't realize they felt the same way as me. And here we are together, protesting No Kings in America. You know, the irony is that the funders who funded this thing and organized it were perfectly fine tearing down the statues of the founding fathers when Joe Biden was president. They were perfectly fine advancing the New York Times 1619 Project mythology that the founding of this country was on slavery. They were perfectly fine hating the country, and now they want to use the founding story of this country as a way to defeat Donald Trump, and you're perfectly willing to be one of their pawns. But you felt good doing it. And today, what have you accomplished? Absolutely nothing. He's still president, and you're still mad.
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
1220 in the Cool Lake area, WSB 24-hour traffic center. You've got some delays in Ackworth. That's on I-75 northbound. It's due to road work. One right lane is blocked between Highway 92, exit 277, and Old Alatoona Road, exit 283. It's slow getting into Fulton County on I-20 eastbound. Just some volume slows you down between Thornton Road and I-285, and it's slow due to volume on the south side in Stockbridge. I-75 southbound slow between I-675 and Hudson Bridge Road. This report is sponsored by Macy's Backstage. Macy's Backstage is a whole department inside your Macy's store where you can find the looks, all for under $30 with new arrivals every day. You never know what you'll find. Find a location at macy'sbackstage.com. I'm George Clark, 95.5 WSB.
The news of the day through the eyes of Eric Von Hessler.
The way you should live your life is look at the way they're doing it at D.C. and then just run.
If it's on your mind, it's on his.
Other people are getting away with it, so you should get away with it.
Eric Von Hessler, today at 3.
Well, your best day ever would have been a Tuesday. Who knows?
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
This is Scott Slade, updating my health story. I get a checkup every year, and last September, my primary care physician was troubled by a suspicious number on my lab work. Well, that led to a diagnosis early enough to give me options, and I'm more optimistic than ever about a good outcome. Now, when we're talking about our health, level with your providers. If you think you have a problem, we all need expert eyes looking us over every so often. That's where virtual imaging can be invaluable. Virtual Imaging's LDCT body scan can give you time and options for early treatment, especially for cancer. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. For a limited time, Virtual Imaging is extending their core body scan offer for only $995 per scan. That's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response, they've opened up more times in both offices. But appointments will fill up fast for this offer, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your virtual imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com. That's virtualimagingatl.com. Do it now, while you still have options.
If you're seeing cracks in the walls upstairs, downstairs, or outside, maybe even a door not closing, call the Foundation Repair Specialist. Hi, it's Mark Beckham here with Atlanta Ramjack, and we are your leading foundation repair experts. Set up your free estimate right now at atlantaramjack.com.
Tomorrow. What might happen tomorrow? For many of us, it's very easy to spend way too much time speculating and worrying about the future. The Bible wisely guides us to never brag about how tomorrow will go and to never worry about it either. We need to trust tomorrow to God and stay fully focused on honoring Him with our lives today. This is Tom Gray, thanking Hardy Chevrolet GMC for their support.
We love you and we need you.
ThisStuffMatters.net.
Hey folks, Dave Baker here with a quick tip. When it comes to garage doors, longevity matters. Overhead Door Company of Atlanta has been serving Atlanta homeowners since 1935. That's 90 years of doing it right, day after day, door after door. Sure, new companies pop up claiming to be number one, but for real trust and experience, there's only one original overhead door, the one with the red ribbon on the trucks. Longevity matters. Quality matters. Call 404-USA-DOOR or visit overheaddooratlanta.com.
This is Greg Trzynski of the Original Mattress Factory. People often ask me why our mattresses last so long. The answer is simple. We build them right. Not only are OMF mattresses durable, they give you peace of mind from day one. When you invest in a mattress from OMF, you're investing in better sleep tonight and smart savings for years to come. No more frequent replacements, no more wasted time shopping. To learn more about the true value of durability, visit originalmattress.com and read our latest blog on getting the most from your mattress investment.
Ooh, it's a big deal, and it's back. D. Geller & Son Jewelers Fall Bridal Event for one weekend only. This weekend, October 24th through 26th. D. Geller is bringing you the biggest diamond engagement and wedding event of the year with exclusive savings, extensive designer lines, and an incredible event up to $3,000 off with an appointment, 36 months, 0% APR financing, and free travel bans. This weekend only, D. D. Geller & Son in Kennesaw and Sandy Springs and online at dgeller.com.
Monica Pearson for Superior Plumbing. Are you a plumber but looking for a better work-life balance? Superior Plumbing is looking for a few good plumbers to join their team. They offer a stable career with great pay and benefits. More importantly, you can build your career with a trusted company.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here across the nation. So, allow me to really dive in here. No calls today. I'm doing this from the house. In fact, I'm going to have to jump into pre-record here in a little bit to be able to go get my wife, and then I have best of in the third hour. I was not supposed to be here today. And I was actually, today and tomorrow, I was supposed to play golf. Today, I won a lottery, the Broken Tea Society with Golfers Journal. I'm a member to play Lookout Mountain. I've never played. It's a very exclusive private course. And two buddies of mine are playing with me. Well, they're playing and I'm not. I'm home. Christy got admitted to the hospital on Friday with rhabdomyolysis, which is your body essentially dissolving muscle. Your kidneys and liver can't process it, so they've been flushing her body since Friday with sodium bicarbonate and fluids to try to minimize the damage to the kidneys and the liver. And well, it's been a weekend, and now my son is sick, so I have to get my wife out of the hospital in an hour, and then I got to take my son to the doctor because he's sick. And I was supposed to play golf tomorrow in an exclusive course that's so exclusive I don't even have it on my calendar. Nobody was even my team wasn't supposed to know. And now I can't do that either. Really was going to be set up to broadcast, so no one would even know I was off the air. I'd have a morning round, do my show, have an afternoon round, come home. Today I was supposed to have a morning round, an afternoon round, and meet some very prominent people who are involved with that course who will go nameless. And instead, nope. But good news is, look, I'm a good husband. I vacuumed. I did all the laundry. I dusted. I've taken care of the dog. Now, thankfully, she's going to get discharged here in a little while. So it's good. She is on the mend. I am very glad. God bless the great doctors who have taken care of her. And thank you for all your prayers, those of you who were listening on Friday, knowing she was in the hospital. So it's been a whirlwind weekend at the Ericksons. I'm ready for a break. I have a speech in Las Vegas the second weekend in November, and I'm really thinking of staying an extra day and just sleeping. I need to go to Barnsley Gardens is what I need to do. Now, I need to tell you about Americans for Prosperity before we move on. You had this massive No Kings protest organized by the left. The greatest organizer on the right is Americans for Prosperity. They're the largest and leading grassroots group in the country. They happen to be on the right, and they advance common sense conservative reforms, and they would absolutely love to have you on board. If you would like, you can go to afpvolunteer.com today. They mobilized an army of support for the president's tax plan. They have been pushing for school choice around the country. They've been pushing for permitting reform for power companies and pipeline companies and drillers for oil. They have pushed for common sense conservative reforms for small businesses and states. I mean, these are the sorts of things they do. And they get you involved to call your local government, your state government, your members of Congress, teach you how to speak before them, even how to talk to your neighbors, or just be the most informed person in your circle of friends. They're a great group. They have chapters in every state now. They would love to have you. Go to afpvolunteer.com. I'm on their board of advisors. I'd love to see you at one of our events around the country. I've been in Vermont, Utah, Florida, all over the place for them. afpvolunteer.com is the website. afpvolunteer.com.
When you need to know.
This story is developing in Atlanta.
When you want to know.
Severe weather is on its way.
When you have to know.
We'll alert you as soon as this closure clears.
Get notifications
from your source for news.
Get the WSB radio app.
Download it from your app store today. Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic,
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Jim Ellis Automotive. We have an update on that deadly road rage incident we were telling you about over the weekend. It happened on I-75. The Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office has now identified the victim, 21-year-old Demaria Jordan. Now, according to the State Patrol, two drivers got into a road rage argument. Jordan got out of his vehicle. Shots were exchanged. He ended up getting hit by an unknown car that drove away. He was also hit by a patrol vehicle. The medical examiner has not yet released the cause of death. We'll be following this story and bring you any updates as we get them. Sunny skies today, staying on the cool side. Afternoon highs around 72, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Amazon says that its cloud computing services are experiencing new issues this afternoon. This comes just hours after it had said that the issue had been fully mitigated. Lots of services have been impacted today, from Amazon shopping app to Ring cameras, also social media, gaming services. Even Delta Airlines said that they had a small number of flight delays as a result of this. We are getting a clearer picture this afternoon of who is homeless in Fulton County. The latest report from Fulton County Continuum of Care finds most of the county's homeless are adults. More than 18% of the homeless are children under the age of 18, and more than half say they rely on homeless shelters or transitional housing. Now, this report finds an overall decrease in homelessness in Fulton County of more than 28% compared to last year. A new study suggests Americans who move out of the state that they were born in to other areas of the country actually have better health. Researchers find that people who stay in their birth state have a higher risk of a number of things, including vision, hearing problems, physical weakness, cognitive impairment. The study shows those who stayed put had up to a 22% higher chance of disability. Researchers analyzed 10 years of data on 5.5 million older adults in the U.S. for this study. It is 12:32.
Everybody needs to increase their protein intake. It's good for you, and I got a great deal for you. Go to omahasteaks.com today. Take advantage of the early Black Friday sale, where the whole site 50% off. Select favorites are 20% off. And then you get an extra $35 off with promo code ERICK, E-R-I-C-K, at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. Let me recommend the chicken skewers with vegetables. They're already prepared for you. Or the air chilled boneless chicken breasts. Great high protein. They've got such great stuff. You can even get a giant package of 32 chicken breasts and 32 pork chops. Incredible savings shipped to your door. Great meal prep options. All of that available. And it's the early Black Friday sale, so you've already stocked it up for your family's holidays. Go to omahasteaks.com today. $35 off with your promo code ERICK at checkout, plus 50% off site-wide and 20% off select favorites.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
To make sure your home stays comfortable as the seasons change, do what I've done for years. Call Ragsdale Heating and Air. This is Scott Slade. Take advantage of Ragsdale's $79 heating tune-up offer now. And if you're ready for a new furnace, Ragsdale is offering monthly payments as little as $119 a month for a brand new Carrier home comfort system through October. And that includes Ragsdale's own trusted 15-year parts and labor warranty. Ragsdale could even install a whole home generator to keep you powered up and comfortable when you click RagsdaleAir.com or call them. Ragsdale is the name I know you can trust.
All right, live team coverage of traffic and weather. We go first to the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
New and just to the south of the Smyrna Vinings area on I-285 northbound, the inner loop. You've got a crash blocking a left lane just south of Atlanta Road, exit 16. So stay to the right there as you enter the Vinings Smyrna area. And you've got that delay in Ackworth on I-75 northbound. One right lane is blocked due to road work between Highway 92, exit 277, and Old Alatoona Road, exit 283. I'm George Clark, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upward. Sunny skies and staying mild today with a high of 72. Lows tonight in the mid to upper 40s.
We'll have more news at 1 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Hello and welcome. It is Eric Erickson. Welcome back. Don't forget, if you text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777, you'll be able to get the live stream, the show notes, the podcast, all that fantastic stuff that you want to stay up on top. I'll have more information. I finally perfected my s'mores Rice Krispie treat. I'm going to write that recipe up, push it out to the recipes list. So if you text the word recipe, singular, not plural, recipe, to 33777, you can sign up for that list. I'm about to turn it back on. It's been dormant for a while, firing it back up. Now that I've got this recipe perfected, we need to talk about the tariffs. So, I'm a critic of them. And a lot of people, this goes to one of my overarching concerns about, intellectual honesty these days is the people on the left who they can't abide any criticism of Joe Biden and people on the right as well, and with Donald Trump, and people constantly convinced that he's got some secret plan and master of the universe, and if only you were as smart as him, and on and on and on and on. But I know basic economics. I'm not an economist, but I know basic economics, and I know the way tariffs work. Somebody pays them. That money comes out of the pocket of an individual or a business, and a lot of companies in this country have been paying the tariff because they couldn't pass the full cost on to you because you would stop buying it. If you got the show notes on Friday, and there's more data in there today, including the Wall Street Journal story. If you got the show notes on Friday, text Eric to 33777, click the top link to subscribe. There's a story in there of CNBC surveying small businesses. And pretty much every small business has the same story. They're not hiring. They're not giving pay raises. They're cutting back on investment. And they're still raising prices. They're not raising prices the full cost of the tariff because you would not buy the product from them. That means that they can't hire staff, they can't pay staff more higher wages, they can't do anything they want to do. It's even as bad in some of the Fortune 500 companies. Ford Motor Company is signaling it's about to escalate prices. So I went with my son this weekend to look at cars. He really likes, we went to a different Hyundai, forgive me, Jim Ellis, we wanted to look. And I think we have settled on the Hyundai Santa Fe. I got to reach out to the Jim Ellis folks. The one that he saw that he really liked was there. They're not giving me a special deal. Don't worry about it. And it's pricier than the Ford we looked at. So we looked at, I finally came to peace with letting him look at a Mustang. And it turns out it won't fit his cello. And he decided he didn't like it. And I was shocked at how much cheaper it was, and the Ford Explorer was, compared to the Santa Fe. In large part, it's because of tariffs. There's a problem, though. There were lots of rebates now on the Explorer and the Mustang. There were really good deals. I mean, less than $40,000 for this Explorer we looked at. Here's the problem, though. Ford, through back channels, according to multiple news outlets, is telling the White House they're about to raise prices because they're done absorbing the cost of the aluminum. They take sheet aluminum from a plant in the United States. There's now been a major fire at that plant, so they're having to buy imported aluminum, and the price is going up so much, it's having an impact on profits and wages and hirings. The American manufacturers, and see, this is part of the problem here. This is something I think a lot of people didn't understand, but it's Economics 101. If the tariff raises the price of imported aluminum by 100%, and I'm just using this because the math is easy for you, the domestic producer could raise their price of aluminum 75%. And they'll still be cheaper than the imported aluminum. So they're making more money. And that's been the problem. When the president imposed the tariffs on imported copper and aluminum and steel and lumber, the domestic manufacturers raised their prices because they knew they could raise their price. And as long as it was still cheaper than the imported product due to the tariff, you're going to buy from them because it's more expensive than it was, but it's still cheaper than the tariff. So that's caused an inflationary effect. Now, here's the thing you got to remember is economists and the stock market and the talking heads on TV, they treat it as inflation, but it's not. It's not going to keep going up. There's a one-time jump based on the tariff, but they treat it as inflationary. That cost has to be absorbed either by the company, by the company that is shipping the stuff to the United States, or by you. What has typically happened is the company sending the good have lowered the price. The company that is buying the good here absorbs the rest of the price so that you're not paying it. That has, just like with the small businesses, impacted wages. It's impacted hirings. It's impacted company investment. It's impacted profit, so it's impacted 401k. It's impacting stocks. And the companies are starting to say, we've absorbed the cost too much. So the president is now signaling he's going to walk back some of these tariffs, which is good. That's the point of the explanation, is the president is signaling he's walking them back. Trump supporters will say this was always part of the plan. That's not what the people of the White House are saying, but if you want to say that was always part of the plan, that's fine, but it hasn't stimulated new manufacturing. Here's actually why they're walking it back now. Because the automakers and the grocery stores are telling the White House economic team that they can no longer afford to absorb all the costs. Why? Important here. Harvest season for some products in this country is happening now, but other products harvested earlier in the year. Beef is having a problem because there's been a drought. There have been problems within the domestic supply chain for beef. Normally, we would supplement with Brazilian imports, but there's a 75% tariff, so beef prices have gone up due to the drought, due to the supply chain, factory, slaughterhouse issues, and also due to the tariff. The prices of groceries are starting to go up. Coffee was already going up, and bananas were already going up. Other products are starting to go up. Beer is going up. Why is beer going up? Aluminum cans. Other goods are going up. Why? Because the price of canned goods, because the cans, the price of those are going up now because you have domestic manufacturers who are shut down due to fires. They're having to use foreign supply chains to get aluminum, to get steel, to get things like that for the tin cans and the like. So that cost is going up. All of that's being passed on to consumers. So the president is now saying they're going to start walking back tariffs that are directly impacting consumers. That's good. I'm not opposed to the tariff for China, for example, strategically done. But when you apply the tariffs to China, but then to also everyone who competes with China, that becomes a problem. And they finally, I think, seen the light on this. So the Wall Street Journal is reporting that the president's team is starting to realize they have a problem because companies are starting to pass the cost along to consumers. Scott Bessent's spin on this is that it was a surcharge. It wasn't a tax, it was a surcharge. That is the argument that was made by Obama supporters, that Obamacare wasn't a tax, the individual mandate wasn't a tax. It was a premium surcharge. It's a tax. There's no such thing as a surcharge. The government doesn't have the power to do a surcharge. Article 1, Section 8, you have the power to tax, you have the power to do duties, you have the power to do tariffs. You don't have the power to make a surcharge, federal government. It's a tax. The clever talking points by Bessent here are not a way to cover from what happened. So the good news here is the president's team is starting to walk them back. The tariffs look like they're going to be walked back sooner than Christmas. Why? They're starting to see economic headwinds build. And they're starting to realize that as much as people hate the Democrats, they may side with the Democrats because of the tariff issue. We don't want the Democrats to take back the House and the Senate. If the economy turns south, and in the next hour, I want to start with some of the economic underlying data that is suggesting we're headed towards somewhere not good, and the president's team realizes there's underlying economic instability right now. It's not their fault. Let's be real clear here. I'm not saying, and no one should say, the underlying economic stability is the fault of the president. It's not. It's not the fault of his team. It's not the fault of the tariffs. It's just there. It's a carryover effect from the post-COVID inflationary period we had and the high interest rates. That's why the Fed is starting to cut interest rates, and it looks like they're going to do it again. It's why the government is starting to sound the alarm on some of the tariffs needing to come off. Underlying economic impact suggests there are problems. It's good they're reversing course. To you who are progressives, I want to talk to you for a minute. You're convinced the president refuses to change his mind, doesn't look at the data, everything is his fault. Here is the president of the United States looking at the underlying data, listening to businesses, listening to small businesses, listening to the markets, listening to his economic advisors, and deciding to change course from something he philosophically supports. The president is a philosophical supporter of tariffs. He does believe in tariffs. But they've decided to change course now, having taken all the data in and changed their mind. They're doing the very action the left says the president's capable of doing. They're doing the very action progressive agitators don't believe is possible in this administration. They're going to be attacked for changing their mind now. I actually am glad they're changing their mind. I'm not attacking them at all. There's no way for them to win in the media environment because there's so much hate from the media towards the president, but he's doing the right thing now. And this will be good for the economy. So now here's where we head. Some of the consumer-facing tariffs on groceries, imports, things like that start to go away. That revs up those sectors. Wages can go up now. They can invest and they can hire. The Federal Reserve cuts rates again. That provides more overall economic stimulus to the market. The hope is that this extends economic stability enough that the underlying instability continues to be an undercurrent and not actually explode out into the open. At the top of the next hour, I actually want to talk about some of that. And again, it's not partisan. It's just there. You need to know about it. You need to be smarter than everybody else. You need to be prepared for it. The Andrew Ross Sorkin and others at CNBC, the Wall Street Journal, they're all starting to sound the alarm that there are some market fundamentals and economic fundamentals in major companies that are starting to not look good. And it all comes as we realign the economy out of COVID. The economic stimulus from COVID starts to go away. These companies were riding a wave of essentially government subsidy that's coming to an end. Everybody's starting to be a little concerned about it. You should be concerned about it too. And you should know what it looks like so you're prepared for it. And I am reassured that Kevin Hassett and Scott Bessent are very aware of it. They've advised the president on it. And this kind of explains the president's big push on interest rate cuts from the Fed and now the Fed responding. And also why they're walking back some of the consumer-facing tariffs as they see those consumer-facing tariffs impact small businesses more than large businesses. And we're going to need to start building up the small businesses to deal with what potentially is coming from some of the big businesses. All in all, this tells me the president's team looks at the data, changes their minds and course based on the data, and that's what everyone says they want in good management from the government, and they're getting it from the Trump administration, so we should all be reassured by it.
Honest.
Putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear, it's to tell you the truth.
It's the Erick Erickson Show.
1248 in the Corey Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. New in Sandy Springs, a crash on Georgia 400 northbound north of Northridge Road. Exit 6 is definitely affecting multiple lanes there. Delays building up quickly. I do advise using Highway 9 to avoid those delays. Good news in Cobb County on I-285 northbound. That earlier crash that was just south of Atlanta Road on exit 16. It has been cleared. All lanes are open there on I-285 northbound. I'm George Clark, 95.5 WSB.
More local news
Wild scene at a Covington Walmart after an employee.
More traffic.
85 south out of Brookhaven, crowded beginning past Claremont.
More weather.
The Sunnyside community may have been impacted by this tornado.
Atlanta's Morning News.
Tomorrow morning
This
at
is a
5.
complicated, controversial subject.
Wake up with 95.5 WSB.
How Atlanta starts its day.
Just like your car, your septic system needs regular maintenance. Hi, I'm Shannon, the owner of Scorpion Septic. If you're seeing bubbles in your toilet, pooling in your yard, slow draining, or your toilet won't flush, you need Scorpion Septic.
Take the sting out of septic service with Scorpion Septic, where there is never a pump out charge with your repair. Call for more information. ScorpionSepticServices.com.
ScorpionSepticServices.com. I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, with all the things we're reading, seeing, and living through these days, from rate cuts, election season, and now a new administration, now seems like a great time to make sure we have that comprehensive plan in place. You know, the one that covers all our financial bases.
There are occasions throughout the year where I feel like it's critical for people to engage their financial lives and get the information that they deserve from a financial advisory team. And this is one of those times, to be quite frank. So we ask that you call us if you have a minimum of $500,000 in your full portfolio. But we're going to do away with that minimum so that those folks can have an equal opportunity to understand what's in their portfolio as well. Now, you have to have some money, right? I can't help you to build your wealth at work, right? But I sure can help, I believe, with your 401k, IRA management. There's probably 2 or 3 things that'll surprise you that you may want to take action on. So the next 10 people that call in will work up either a portfolio x-ray, or if you feel like you need a full retirement plan, go to unleashyourmoney.com, click on portfolio x-ray, or click on full retirement plan. We think you'll be impressed enough, and we want you to become a client. There's no question about it. We believe that we are a very competent fiduciary advisory team, and we want to offer that to our listeners. Let Hoffman Financial Group actually show you how we perform, and I believe we perform at the pinnacle of this industry.
Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
October is here, and this is a perfect month for home comfort. Dave Baker for Coolray Heating and Cooling. See, in October, it'll still get plenty warm during the day, but it will get cool at night. So with the purchase of a complete carrier system, Coolray's offering up to $2,250 back in rebates and free installation. That's heat, cool, and free installation. Get a jump start on keeping your home comfortable. Book your appointment online today at Coolray.com. Coolray and Carrier. Turn to the experts.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Missed part of today's show? Catch it again in full with the Eric Erickson Show 24/7 live stream. Available at ericerickson.com. Stream enabled for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto.
You may still not know the government is shut down. It still doesn't feel very shut down to most people. Social Security checks are going out. The military got paid. The national parks, you can still go through them to some degree. I did note that there was hunting season and you couldn't hunt on federal land this weekend in the South. But by and large, doesn't feel like it's shut down. Here's the Speaker of the House a short time ago.
And the Democrats are making some very costly history here. Don't lose that in all that's happening. This is now the third longest shutdown in history. And when you look at it carefully, it is now already the longest full shutdown of all time. You had an example in 2018, and you had one back in 1995 that were longer, but they were partial shutdowns because they only affected a part of the federal government. This is everything. And it's also important for us to note, this is the first time in history that any party has had the audacity to shut down the government over a totally clean, nonpartisan continuing resolution. This is a political stunt, and it's the first time it's been done, and it is the most costly, most selfish, most dangerous political stunt in the history of the United States Congress, because as we have stood here day after day after day explaining all the Americans who are being harmed by this nonsense.
That's
And
the
the
Speaker of the
Democrats
House, Mike Johnson. The Republicans yet again saying that they are not going to cut a deal. In fact, here is Kristen Welker with Tim Kaine, the senator from Virginia, throwing his words back at him from 2019's shutdown.
You know, Senator, back in 2019, you made a similar argument during that shutdown that Republicans are making now. Republicans at the time were asking for more funding for a border wall. You said, let's reopen the government first. I want to play a little bit of what you had to say.
We first should reopen government. Why punish people who are applying for food stamps because the president is having a temper tantrum? Open government first.
So, Senator, by your own logic, should Democrats not vote to reopen the government first and negotiate later?
Kristen, here's what's different now. The president told the Republicans to write this budget without any Democratic involvement.
That's not different at all. That's not different at all. That's such a lame excuse trying to differ on that, but that's the best the Democrats can do, and it's not working. There are rumors now that perhaps they will reopen. It wouldn't surprise me if now that the No Kings protest is over, they decide to reopen. It's been kind of funny to watch the stunning level of hypocrisy from the Democrats who, one, they don't really like having their words thrown back at them. Remember, this is the first time the Democrats have shut down the government in modern history. It's always been the Republicans who do it. Then the Democrats now, they're kind of caught with their own history of consistent rhetoric that you got to have a clean resolution and then negotiate. That's what the Republicans now want, just the Democratic standard. In fact, the wild and crazy thing is that the continuing resolution that's being voted on is the one that Chuck Schumer drew up last year when the Democrats controlled the Senate. Yeah, this is, you understand, right, that the budget that they're dealing with is based off of Joe Biden's budget. And the last time the continuing resolution was done, it was drafted by Chuck Schumer. That's what the Republicans have advanced, the same continuing resolution. And now suddenly the Democrats are balking at the idea, which is just kind of funny. Now, I got to tell you about the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. You can get 3 of them, and you can save $200 and get them for less than $200 at EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3, no space. They're air purifiers, so they get rid of dust, pollen, they get rid of pet dander, they eliminate odors, all odors, and this is how I use them. I don't actually use them as an air purifier, to be honest with you. I don't leave them running the whole time because they generate ozone, but it's the ozone that's the key to the odor elimination. The ozone touches the ionized particles you and I know as odors that your nose processes as a smell, and it wipes them out. And because those odors may be trapped in the couch, and ozone's a gas, it gets into the couch, into the carpet, wherever the odor is. No odor can stand up to it. So you get 3 of them, and you save $200. You get them for less than $200. What you do is you go to EdenPureDeals.com. Eden, like the Garden of Eden. Pure as the driven snow. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code ERIC3, ERICK3 at EdenPureDeals.com.
Everyone has an opinion.
I've had some great Mondays. I'm having a good Monday right now. Look, it's beautiful outside.
That nice loud shirt. Eric Von Haessler has an opinion.
It's a citrusy, summery, I think breezy kind of shirt.
And some advice.
But just remember this.
Eric Von Haessler. Today at 3.
I never have and never will smoke a cigar.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Serving my country required sacrifice. Sacrifice that changed my life forever. I remember the day I came home. Because of my injuries, this house wasn't right for me anymore. I remember the narrow doorways, the small bathrooms, the shelves out of reach when in my wheelchair. Every day was full of obstacles. I felt trapped. I remember a better day, the day my family received a specially adapted custom home from Homes for Our Troops. That day changed everything. Now we have a safe and accessible home to enjoy the freedom I fought for. This place, our home, is exactly what we needed to rebuild our lives.
Homes for Our Troops builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans and enables them to rebuild their lives. Join our mission at hfotusa.org.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1 o'clock at afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Finley Roofing. The victim killed in a road rage incident on I-75 over the weekend has now been identified by the Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office. That person identified as 21-year-old Damari Jordan. The State Patrol says it was a road rage incident that escalated into a shootout between the two drivers. The victim was then hit by an unknown vehicle that drove away from the scene. A police vehicle also hit the man. The medical examiner has not yet released the cause of death. Your weather for today, sunny skies and on the cool side. Afternoon high around 72, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. She'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast straight ahead. Amazon says that its cloud computing services are experiencing another set of new issues. Lots of services have been impacted today, from the Amazon shopping app to Ring cameras, social media, gaming services, even Venmo. Delta Airlines, Atlanta base, saying that they had a small number of flight delays as a result of this. The University of Georgia's total enrollment reaching a record 43,888 students this fall. That is a 1.7% increase from the previous year. UGA saying that this growth is driven by a record number of students from the state of Georgia enrolling. And they now make up 83% of all undergraduate students at the University of Georgia campus there in Athens. Well, there's new evidence that President Trump's tariffs are having an impact on a key trade partner, China. And this comes as the White House and Beijing prepare to return to the negotiating table following the president's threat to impose new 100% levies. Correspondent Kelly O'Grady has more.
What that speaks to in terms of U.S. consumers, not a lot's going to change right now, but that could give President Trump a little bit more leverage at the negotiating table if China feels like their economy isn't on strong ground.
And while we're talking about money, how much do you plan to spend on Halloween?
The National Retail Federation says that on average, Americans will spend $114 per person for Halloween candy, decorations, and costumes. $1.4 billion will be spent collectively for kids' costumes, another $2 billion for adults.
And Jim Ryan says Americans plan to spend a whopping $860 million to dress up their pets. Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow right now is up 263 at 46,453, so the Dow's up more than 0.5%. NASDAQ is up more than 1%, and the S&P's up almost 1% here at 102. Stay close. We'll have live team coverage of traffic and weather coming your way next.
By executive order from Rufus, the Finley Roofing chief barking officer, they're rolling over. Rolling out a $1,000 discount on your Finley roof replacement. Hey, it's Dave Baker for the only roofer I answer the door for, Finley Roofing, the roof guys. Stop repairing the leaks and dragging your feet. Now is the best time to replace that old, leaky, haunted roof and save 1,000 bones. Finley has replaced over 65,000 roofs locally. That's no trick. It's just high-quality work, upfront pricing, and exceptional service. Finley goes the distance. They're the extra effort experts, making sure you have a remarkable roof replacement experience. Finley also has 0% financing available, and for a limited time, you can save $1,000 on your roof replacement. Hurry, you need to shake on this deal by Halloween. Schedule your free roof analysis at FinleyRoofing.com.
As you go through your end-of-season to-dos, add Call Castile Cooling and Heating to the checklist. You wouldn't send your kids to school unprepared, so don't send your air conditioner into hibernation without a checkup from our specialists. If you've noticed your system struggling, weird sounds, smells, or changes in airflow, let's fix it now. Right now, install a new HVAC system and get up to $2,000 in free upgrades and 0% interest financing. Book today, and help is on the way. CastileAir.com.
Whether it's a slip that ends in a slip disc, a trick knee that's holding you back, or shoulder pain hurting your game, you can count on Northside Hospital Orthopedics. With leading care in Georgia at convenient locations all across the state, we're here to get you back on your feet, no matter what comes your way. Because Georgia moves us, and we keep Georgia moving. Find a provider near you at northside.com/ortho. That's northside.com/ORTHO.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
It's 1:05, time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. George Clark in the WSB 24-hour traffic center with a look at your roads.
In Sandy Springs, that crash is still there on Georgia 400 northbound north of North Ridge Road, exit 6. It's blocking a right lane, so stay to the left or use Highway 9 to avoid the delays. As you enter Fulton County on I-20 eastbound, there's a crash just past Riverside Parkway, exit 46. That's blocking a right lane, so stay to the left there. This report is sponsored by Straight Talk Wireless. Your favorite songs shouldn't have to wait for Wi-Fi. Switch to Straight Talk and get real unlimited data on Verizon's 5G network. Straight Talk, available at straighttalk.com or Walmart. I'm George Clark, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upward. Sunny skies today, high 72, lows tonight in the mid to upper 40s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy and isolated rain shower possible, high 79. Wednesday, sunny skies, morning lows in the upper 40s, daytime high 71.
WSB Storm Tracker radar is clear. It's sunny and 67 degrees in Canton, 67 in Milton. Here in Midtown Atlanta, we have sunshine and 69 degrees. We'll have more news at 1:30, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. The phone number 877-973-7425. Except, obviously, you can't call in. Just if you're listening for the whole show today, and you always should, the third hour has to be best of. I've got to take my son to the doctor. I got to get my wife from the hospital. Today has just been a crazy day. I wasn't even supposed to be here. But here we are. Life gets in the way sometimes, but I still want to be with you here and dive in to what's happening before I have to sneak out of here. I want to talk about underlying economic data. By the way, I'm going to get into the Caribbean situation. It's escalating, but I want to talk about this data because I'm concerned about it. And I want to be very clear here. This doesn't have anything to do with tariffs. It doesn't have anything to do with this administration. Let me explain where we've come from as a nation going back to 2020. We had COVID. And the whole world shut down and people went home. And it became economically untenable. So what the government did is it paid people to not go to work because companies weren't selling products, therefore they couldn't make payroll. So countries around the world relied on their government treasury to print money to give to people, and that provoked global inflation. The Biden administration came in this country in 2021 and decided to do a massive stimulus to the economy. If you'll recall, Larry Summers, who had been Barack Obama's economic advisor, I think Secretary of Treasury, he'd worked for Bill Clinton. He was the president of Harvard. He's one of the most distinguished economists in the world. He penned a piece in the Washington Post and said, guys, you're going to provoke inflation if you throw this much money into the economy. The economy is already showing inflationary signs from the existing stimulus. This is going to be too much. And he was right. What happened as well is with people gone and with businesses struggling and with the decrease in the labor force, the government threw a lot of money into private businesses and was subsidizing private businesses. Over the last year, that money has started being pulled out of the system by the Federal Reserve and the Congress. They've been walking back subsidies to state governments. So a lot of companies are now struggling to rebuild a customer base where the government had been a stand-in for the customers. While that is happening, tariffs have had an impact at the consumer level and with a lot of small businesses. Tariffs, though, are a minor part of the story. The more major part of the story is that from the inflation over the last number of years, the government money flooding the system and now being pulled back out of the system, the economy hasn't been growing. Now you're like, Erickson, the numbers, we get the numbers, the economy's been exploding. Well, yeah, except there's a report that's come out of Harvard of an economic survey, and they got a little curious, and here's why. If you follow the stock market, and I've gotten back into investing, rereading Ben Graham's The Intelligent Investor, actually trying to find stocks for myself. And I rely on my buddy David Nicholas and my buddy John Lindvig to handle my money. They're smart people and use them. They don't work together. But I got two friends I rely on to handle my family's money and my investments. David Nicholas, I do advertisements for. He's a friend of mine. You see him on Fox a lot. Then my buddy John Lindvig's been a longtime family friend, handles my IRA and stuff like that. And I'm not an expert. I'm not an economist. I rely on these two guys who are. I read Ben Graham's Intelligent Investor years ago. I'm working my way back through it. I like to buy stocks. I like to buy dividend stocks. I like to reinvest the dividends. I like to grow my portfolio. I like to save my money in this way. And I've noticed as I've gotten back into it, and for a while I hadn't, there's not a lot of value out there. There are so many companies and the stock prices are so high right now. It's like, why? It's like Warren Buffett. Like, why am I going to buy a stock that is this high? The PE ratio is way too high. It doesn't make any sense to me to buy a stock right now that is that high. And there are so many overinflated stocks. And when you actually look into the S&P 500, outside of the top 10, 15 stocks out there, you're not seeing a lot of growth in the stocks. You got some very highly priced stocks, but the underlying growth of the companies isn't there. The stock price is growing, but their actual economic growth is not. And Harvard saw this trend where outside of the top, and what are the big stocks? The big stocks are, they're NVIDIA, they're Apple, they're Amazon, they're Meta or Facebook, they're Netflix, there's AMD now, there's OpenAI is now exploding in investment and stuff. And you got these massive companies, some of the energy stocks related to AI. What happens when you get rid of the AI data center effect out there? What's going on with the rest of the economy? And it turns out nothing. What Harvard found is that the economy for the first half of this year only grew at 0.1% if you exclude the AI data center boom. And that's a telling problem. Now, why is that the case? The rest of the economy is only growing at 0.1% when it looks like on paper the economy is exploding. What's the underlying problem here? And the underlying problem is the COVID money. And again, I'm not an expert on this, but I know the experts to talk to. The government flooded the economy with so much money because people dropped out of the workforce. People weren't buying stuff. People were staying home. They were giving consumers money so that the consumers could spend money, and all of that is being walked away now. And it shows an inherent weakness underlying the economy. And now let's look at those big exploders out there, NVIDIA and AMD now with OpenAI. How are these stocks? And this should give you alarm bells that I can easily explain this one to you. NVIDIA invested millions of dollars. I think it was $100 million in OpenAI. OpenAI has ChatGPT. I'm sure you've all heard of ChatGPT at this point. ChatGPT works by processing using GPU chips. Those are graphics processing unit chips that make mathematical calculations at a high rate of speed. And OpenAI uses those sorts of chips from NVIDIA to run ChatGPT through data centers around the country, consuming an awful lot of power. NVIDIA invests $100 million in OpenAI. OpenAI then takes the $100 million investment and buys $100 million worth of NVIDIA chips. There's no real investment there. NVIDIA gave OpenAI the money to then buy the chips from NVIDIA. And now OpenAI has bought stock in the chip manufacturer AMD, chip designer. They don't manufacture, they design and outsource. So they bought a bunch of stock in AMD. They sent out a public press release saying we bought stock in AMD. The AMD stock skyrocketed as a result, and then OpenAI sold the stock and used the profit to buy chips from AMD. This is not sustainable. It's circular. NVIDIA gives $100 million to ChatGPT, which then uses the $100 million to buy NVIDIA chips. Who got $100 million? Nobody. Nobody got really $100 million. Or OpenAI, ChatGPT buys AMD stock. The stock goes up. They sell the stock. They take the money. They buy the chips. This looks like a real bubble. When the rest of the economy only grew at 0.1%. And the rest in the tech sector, it looks like a bubble, and that bubble is going to pop at some point. That's not to say you can't make money in the stock market right now. Certainly people are making lots of money off of NVIDIA and AMD and the rest of it. But I'm telling you, there's an underlying fundamental weakness in the economy, and the president's team realizes it, and that's the key here. They realize something is not right here. The NVIDIA OpenAI deal was a red flag for pretty much everybody. And then the OpenAI AMD stock purchase and sale and purchase of chips, that was another red flag. And the red flags keep coming with the economy. Now you've got Harvard looking at the underlying stock market and the businesses out there. You've got these massively inflated stock prices and no growth in the companies. And then you've got some, but not all power companies, but you've got a lot of power companies out there right now that are struggling to build massive output for data centers in their states. What happens when the data centers collapse? Because the bubble bursts. You'll have a lot of power companies that have made overcapacity. And their overcapacity will then bring down power rates, and those power companies are going to have underlying economic problems. There's a cascading effect that happens. So the power companies are building out the power grid to handle the data centers. The data centers are building out to handle the graphics processing unit chips from NVIDIA and AMD, to handle OpenAI and to handle Grok and to handle Genesis. And that's Google's. Google up the road from me is about to build a massive data center. Amazon is building out data centers. When the bubble bursts, you have all these data centers on a lot of real estate. The data centers aren't being used as much. The power is at oversupply. The power companies have too much power. Rates go down because of market forces. Who's left holding the bag? Our government. Our government is hitting $40 trillion in debt. Can't really bail out these companies without causing the government to go under. The warning signs are there for you to be prepared for. How do you prepare? Talk to your financial advisor. And if your financial advisor is dismissive of all of this, you might need a different financial advisor. You can make money in a bubble, but the bubble can pop. It's like the dot-com bubble. So Ben Graham, he died in the, I think, 1970s. He had started out on Wall Street before 1929. Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, the two most successful investors ever, both say his book is like the Bible of investing. It's called The Intelligent Investor. They've got an updated version of it that's worth reading. And essentially that if you're just buying because the market looks good and stuff going up, you're a speculator. You're not an investor, you're a gambler. What was so funny is that in the early 2000s, late 90s, during that dot-com bubble, a lot of people, including Jim Cramer, who's on CNBC, were essentially saying Ben Graham's ideas on how you invest are now worthless. We're in a new era. Things are different now. The internet is efficient. The internet is strong. The internet is good. These companies are incredible. And a lot of those people, including Cramer, lost a lot of money after dismissing Ben Graham's intelligent investor advice on how you actually find stocks of value and invest. The problem is we keep seeing things. There's nothing new under the sun, and the problems come along. So here's the thing. The internet bubble busted, but the internet's still here. In fact, it's probably better and more powerful than it was then. AI is not going to go away, and the data centers are not going to go away, but the overcapacity probably is. And resources will align themselves. And my suggestion to the powers that be in Washington when this bubble bursts is you let the creative destruction of the marketplace take place. You allow the free market to pick the winners and losers, not the government. And my fear is that the government's going to decide that it knows best. My fear is that the government's going to inject itself into the process to try to pick the winners and losers, and the government's not going to do it as well as the free market itself. The free market's making mistakes right now. There is this bubble. There are more and more people becoming aware of it. The market is starting to reassess. All we need is one black swan event to blow the whole thing up. Maybe it's China doing something. Maybe it's terrorism. We don't know. The market will realign. And when it does, the government should stay out of the way. We're still having problems with GM and certain banks and other companies because the government bailed them out. Look at Fannie and Freddie are still under government conservatorship. They should be back in the private market. We're now having problems with the way loans are structured in this country for housing. One of the reasons mortgages have gone up the way they are is not just government interest rates. It's because of Fannie and Freddie being consumed by the government, and so they use the bully power of the government to get others to structure loans in certain ways. We're not having changes in the loan process that we should. Let the free market work. I want you to be aware of this. I want you to be ahead of the curve on this. I want you to be smarter than your neighbors. I want you to know it's coming. I want you to know that people have been saying it's coming for a while, and now the AMD and the NVIDIA and the OpenAI stuff raising lots of red flags. But what I want you to know is talk to your financial advisor. Find one if you don't have one. Be prepared. And also, when it happens, and I don't know when it'll happen, but when it does, you should be prepared to say to the government, do not bail these companies out. Let the creative destruction of the marketplace restructure itself. It'll be better for everyone in the long run.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
121 in the Cool Ray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. You've got a crash in Sandy Springs on Georgia 400 northbound, north of Northridge Road, exit 6. That's blocking a right lane, stay to the left there. As you get over the Chattahoochee River and past Six Flags Over Georgia, there's a crash on I-20 eastbound, just past Riverside Parkway, exit 46. That's blocking a right lane as well. Stay to the left there as well. This report is sponsored by True Natural Gas. Bigfoot probably isn't true. He certainly isn't local. To see something both local and true, visit TrueNaturalGas.com. They're a local company with honest pricing and truly low rates. I'm George Clark, 95.5 WSB.
When the news matters to you.
The massive project at 285 and Georgia 400 has been a big improvement.
95.5 WSB has you covered.
The latest incident comes when a SWAT team is called after a suspect.
Your 24/7 news
They've
source.
had no ties to a gang.
When you need the story, all you need to do is listen. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's breaking news station.
Y'all, it's Eric. Windows 10 is sunsetting. End of support on October 14th of this year. It's also my anniversary. No end of support for my marriage, just end of support for your computer if you're on Windows 10. You got to update. Now, what does that mean, end of support? It means Microsoft is going to stop issuing security patches for your computer if you're on Windows 10. So you actually do need to update for your own good and safety, and Vision Computers can help you transfer to Windows 11. How do you do it? You call them at 404-COMPUTE and say, Eric sent you, I need some help. They can get you upgraded to Windows 11. It is for your own good and safety and that of your company that you move to Windows 11 because of the security updates, if nothing else. So call Vision Computer at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com. Tell them Eric sent you. You might be able to save some money. You got to get it done before October 14th. Because you're not going to get security patches from Microsoft after that for Windows 10. Let Vision Computer take care of you. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com.
Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Here's an important message from Choice Men's Health.
I'm Dr. Katz, and I'm the Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Are you performing the way you want to in the bedroom? If the answer is no, and you've tried Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra and were disappointed, then you need to come see us immediately. If you don't see results on the first visit, then there's no charge. Many of our patients have medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and prostate problems. I'm happy to say that we have 98% success rate with all our patients. Our customized solutions will allow you to perform within 10 minutes and last an hour and even longer. You can regain your love life and tackle your ED and PE problems. Guys, your partner will never complain again. Our clinic has the most affordable prices, so if you visit other clinics and you're not completely satisfied, then you need to call Choice Men's Health.
Regain your love life regardless of your age or medical history. Choice Men's Health guarantees results on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call now. 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
I'm Brian Parks, head of commercial banking in Atlanta for Ameris Bank. I've been in banking for over 30 years, and my team and I know that businesses have the best results when they work with local bankers who know the Atlanta market. Bankers who will work to understand your business operations and bring good ideas to the table. At Ameris Bank, we do that. I invite you to reach out so we can start a conversation. Visit amerisbank.com/yourbusiness or a local branch near you. Ameris Bank, fiercely yours, member FDIC.
When it comes to defending downed bikers' rights, trust is everything and results matter. Hey, it's Eric Von Hessler for Steel Horse Law, local motorcycle injury attorneys who ride. They specialize in protecting bikers who've been hurt. The mega firms will send an investigator or a paralegal, not a lawyer. With Steel Horse Law, you'll meet directly with your own attorney to get you back on your feet, medical bills paid, back to work, and your case resolved. Schedule your free accident evaluation at steelhorselaw.com.
Serving my country required sacrifice. Sacrifice that changed my life forever. I remember the day I came home. Because of my injuries, this house wasn't right for me anymore. I remember the narrow doorways, the small bathrooms, the shelves out of reach when in my wheelchair. Every day was full of obstacles. I felt trapped. I remember a better day, the day my family received a specially adapted custom home from Homes for Our Troops. That day changed everything. Now we have a safe and accessible home to enjoy the freedom I fought for. This place, our home, is exactly what we needed to rebuild our lives.
Homes for Our Troops builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans and enables them to rebuild their lives. Join our mission at hfotusa.org.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Just joined us? No worries. Check out the Eric Erickson Show 24/7 stream at ericerickson.com. Available for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto.
Did you guys see the video Trump put on social media? It's one of those AI-generated videos of him flying like an F-15 or F-A-18 one, flying over the No Kings protesters, dropping poop on them, including on Harry Sisson and other prominent progressives who were involved. I thought it was kind of funny. The media demands that we be outraged. They actually asked people, Republicans, about the video. They asked the Speaker of the House about the president's video. It just, the outrage by the president putting that, it was so dumb. People are just looking for something to be outraged by. I thought it was kind of funny myself. But now, of course, you know, the left-wing spin it is, oh, we got under Trump's skin. We got under his skin. He wouldn't have done that video if we hadn't gotten under his skin. It's all about letting people get under people's skin, I guess. That because Trump said anything at all about the No Kings protests, it must therefore have been a successful effort to own the president. So juvenile. I honestly, I think the Republicans should have ignored it and moved on. I am glad there was no violence. I was worried that the Antifa rioters would start smashing storefronts and throwing Molotov cocktails, and they did none of that, which is good, and we should be thankful. So it's probably time to move on to other things now. When we come back, the situation in the Caribbean is escalating. The president having ordered the striking of another boat. This time, it's from Colombia. We'll get to it when we come back. First, I need to tell you about Hillsdale College. If you go to ericforhillsdale.com today, you can sign up with Hillsdale College, and you can take one of 40 free classes. There's no charge for you, and you get smarter about a topic you're interested in. Each class is composed of 30-minute video lectures from Hillsdale's really fantastic faculty. Depending on the class, depends on the number of videos. You do it at your own pace. You get a certificate of completion when you're done. They have a great economics class. They've got a great one on capitalism. They have one on the founding of the country, one on the founding of Rome, a C.S. Lewis one that I dearly love. And you got fantastic faculty from Hillsdale doing it. If you want to find out more about it, you go to Eric, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com, and you sign up today with Hillsdale College. Take one of the classes. Just try it for free. You've got nothing to lose. You're going to get smarter about a subject. They've got 40 to choose from history to philosophy to political science to literature to economics, math, chemistry, you name it. Get smarter about a topic you care about that you're interested in. ericforhillsdale.com, E-R-I-C-K, ericforhillsdale.com. Sign up with Hillsdale College today and get smarter with real education, not indoctrination.
You can count on it.
You can try and plan for it.
But sometimes it gets the best of you.
Stalled Big Rig 275 southbound on the outer loop at 166.
When it stops you from getting where you need to be.
Atlanta's most trusted traffic team gets you there.
You slow just east of Georgia 400.
Atlanta's most up-to-date traffic reports from local and trustworthy people.
Every time you listen. Triple Team Traffic.
95.5 WSB. How Atlanta gets there. Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news is sponsored by Ben Hill Renovation. If you've been having trouble getting onto some sites that you normally go to, you're not alone. Amazon says that its cloud computing services are experiencing new issues this afternoon. And this came after it had alerted us that the issue had been fully mitigated earlier. Lots of services impacted today, from Amazon's shopping app to Ring cameras, social media, gaming services. Even Delta Airlines said they had a small number of flight delays as a result of this. Amazon says this is not a hack attack. The problem is related to its domain name service, or in other words, what you type into a web browser. So they are working to get all of that restored. But again, it's been in and out all day today. Sunny skies, staying cool. Afternoon highs around 72, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Update now on a deadly road rage incident on I-75 over the weekend. The Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office now identifying the victim, 21-year-old Demaria Jordan. According to the State Patrol, two drivers got into a road rage argument. Jordan got out of his vehicle. Shots were exchanged. He ended up getting hit by an unknown car that drove away. He was also hit by a patrol vehicle. The medical examiner has not yet released the cause of death. We are getting a clearer picture of who is homeless in Fulton County. The latest report from Fulton County Continuum of Care finds most of the county's homeless are adults. More than 18% of the homeless are children under the age of 18, and more than half say they rely on homeless shelters or transitional housing. Now, this report finds that overall there's been a decrease in homelessness in Fulton County, a decrease of more than 28% compared to last year. And a new poll finds 1 in 10 preschoolers play outside once a week or less. And Sarah Clark is co-director of the poll for the C.S. Mott Children's Hospital in Michigan. She says kids need outdoor play to develop skills.
Those kids are really losing out on the opportunity for that physical development. And also, being outside is really good for kids' eye health, and also just for allowing kids to understand and explore nature and kind of see how the world works.
And she says even small blocks of time for physical outdoor activity is helpful. It's 1:32.
Dave Baker here for Artisan Custom Closets. Ever been looking for your favorite sweater only to find it in the bottom of the pile in your master closet, sitting on a wire rack, and when you put it on, you look like a waffle? Wouldn't be that way if you had Artisan Custom Closets upgrade your closets. Your clothes would remain beautiful all year. Schedule your free design consultation today with a certified master artisan designer at artisancustomclosets.com and reward yourself with affordable luxury over the holidays. artisancustomclosets.com.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix that's guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with low prices in every aisle. Kroger shoppers never compromise. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Right now, save big on all Halloween candy. You can save 33% with your digital coupon. Selection varies by store. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hi, I'm David Nicholas, financial advisor and president of Nicholas Wealth Management. But most importantly, I'm a husband and a father. The three most important things in my life are faith, family, and freedom. Unfortunately, I think we're facing threats to all three. The yahoos in Washington want to erode our wealth by inflation, regulation, and out-of-control spending. Deficits, rob Social Security, and inflation have devalued our dollar and made raising a family nearly impossible. And frankly, I'm sick and tired of it. The federal government is 40% bigger today than it was before COVID. I think that means taxes are going higher. Don't let higher taxes devastate your retirement accounts. At Nicholas Wealth, we have CPAs and CFPs that can show you how to shelter your retirement accounts from higher taxes. Our Retire Ready tax analysis is a $1,000 value, but we'll provide it completely complimentary for callers who have saved more than $250,000 for retirement and give us a call in the next 10 minutes. The number to call is 404-890-5606. That's 404-890-5606, or you can go to nicholaswealth.com.
Nicholas Wealth is an independent financial services firm that uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is prepared for informational purposes only. It does not address specific investment objectives or the financial situation and the needs of any person. This is a paid advertisement.
All right, live team coverage of traffic and weather. Here's George Clark.
Yes, we've got some delays in the city on Ponce de Leon Avenue westbound. You've got 2 left lanes blocked at Monroe Drive, so just keep that in mind if you're traveling through the city. And you've got some delays in Ackworth on I-75 northbound. 1 right lane is blocked due to road work between Highway 92, exit 277, and Old Alatoona Road, exit 283. Good news in Sandy Springs, that crash that was on Georgia 400 northbound north of Northridge has cleared to the right shoulder. All lanes are back open. I'm George Clark, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upward. Sunny skies and staying mild today with a high of 72. Lows tonight in the mid to upper 40s.
More news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. 95.5 WSB.
Welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here across the nation. Glad to have you with me. Don't forget, if you text Eric to 33777, you can get the show notes. Actually, if you text DATA, D-A-T-A, text DATA to 33777, you get the paid version with a discount. It's like 15-20% discount. It's only $70 a year, $7 a month. But you still get a discount if you text DATA to 33777 and subscribe. And you want to, because I got 3 stories I want to reference here, and they're in the show notes because we take all the stuff that I talk about in the show and we put it in the show notes for you so you can follow along. So I'm not thinking for you. You see what I'm reading. You can interpret it differently if you want, but I want you to have all the stuff. 3 stories here. Let me read you from these because the situation is escalating in the Caribbean as the president signals he really is into the Monroe Doctrine and is really trying to crack down on what's happening in the Caribbean with the drug cartels. He's trying to destabilize them. Remember, here's just the truth. This is not my opinion. This is true. The drug cartels have been cooperating with the Chinese cartels, and the Chinese cartels are given tacit permission by the Chinese government to flood the Americas with drug components to poison Americans. So the Chinese cartels work with the drug cartels in the Central and Southern American countries that manufacture fentanyl and other drugs and then ship them into the United States. And it's actually a global operation against the American people that President Trump is taking seriously. Now, 3 stories, headline, Washington Post, officials, locals undercut Trump claims about Venezuela drug boats. Claiming the power to summarily kill traffickers as though they're enemy troops, Trump has authorized the U.S. military to strike at least 6 speedboats the administration has deemed suspicious, killing dozens of people since the beginning of September. At least half of the strikes and 21 of the killings, locals say, have transpired in the waters between Venezuela and Trinidad and Tobago, nations so close that on clear days they're within eyesight of each other. But records and interviews with 20 people familiar with the route or the strikes, including current and former U.S. and international officials, contradict the administration's claims. The passage, they said, is not ordinarily used to traffic synthetic opioids such as fentanyl, present in 69% of drug overdose deaths last year, nor are the drugs typically headed for the United States. Trinidad and Tobago, a Caribbean nation more than 1,000 miles south and 1,200 miles east of Miami, is both a destination market for marijuana and a transshipment point for South American cocaine bound for West Africa and Europe, according to U.S. officials, Trinidadian police, and international analysts. The fentanyl seized in the United States, in contrast, is typically manufactured in Mexico using precursors from China and smuggled in through the land border. The military strikes are unlikely as a result to cut overdose deaths in the United States, but it has brought U.S. forces into striking distance of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. So this is the spin in the Washington Post that, yeah, okay, they may be drugs, but they're not bound for the United States, so it's bad. Really? I mean, that's it. Oh, this is cocaine bound for Africa. Wow. Now, next one. This is the New York Times. U.S. kills 3 on boats suspected of smuggling drugs from Colombian rebels. The United States has killed 3 men and destroyed another boat. It's suspected of running drugs in the Caribbean Sea. This one alleged to have been affiliated with the Colombian insurgency group, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth announced on Sunday. It was the 7th boat known to have been attacked since early September as part of the Trump administration's use of the military to kill people suspected of smuggling drugs, as if they were enemy soldiers in a war rather than arresting them as criminals. The latest strike took place on Friday, and Mr. Hegseth said in a social media post on Sunday it had targeted a vessel associated with the National Liberation Army, a Colombian rebel group known as the ELN. So far, the Trump administration has acknowledged killing 32 people in the strikes, whose legality has been widely disputed by outside legal experts. Hegseth said, quote, "The vessel was known by our intelligence to be involved in illicit narcotics smuggling, was traveling along a known narco-trafficking route, and was transporting substantial amounts of narcotics. He did not provide evidence." Now, last story, this is from the New York Times. Again, text data to 33777. You get them all yourself in the show notes. President Gustavo Petro of Colombia accused the United States of murdering a fisherman in an attack on a boat that the American authorities claim was carrying illicit drugs. President Trump responded on Sunday and said he would slash assistance and impose new tariffs on the country. The feuding between the two leaders reflected rising tensions in the region over the huge U.S. military deployment in the Caribbean targeting Colombia's neighbor Venezuela. U.S. forces have killed dozens of people in recent weeks aboard vessels that the Trump administration says were ferrying drugs from Venezuela. The administration has provided no evidence to support the claims beyond descriptions of intelligence assessments and declassified videos of portions of the attack. Legal specialists have called such killings illegal because militaries cannot lawfully target civilians who do not pose a threat in the moment and are not directly participating in hostilities. Quote, U.S. officials have committed a murder and violated our sovereignty and territorial waters, the Colombian president wrote on social media. He said the man killed in the mid-September attack, Alejandro Carranza, was a lifelong fisherman whose boat had experienced damage and was adrift, probably in Colombian waters, at the time of the attack. I need you to know something. I think the rules of engagement on civilians are garbage when it comes to narco traffickers, because the narco traffickers are many times in league with governments and are acting in acts of war in other ways. I do not care for the legal analysis that claims these attacks are illegal, because I think the legal analysis needs to be broadly updated when it comes to narco trafficking, given the damage narco trafficking does. And I think the president's team is accurate to describe them as acts of war against the American people, because they're collaborating with the Chinese and others. And the Chinese cartels are fronts for the Chinese government, operating in ways to undermine the United States and kill American civilians. And it's past time we stop treating them as criminals and blow them up as if they are enemy combatants against the United States, in the same way we would Al-Qaeda and ISIS, that are themselves not nation states, but terrorist groups. Having said that, I am concerned that Pete Hegseth may not be the best guy to say whether or not these are narco terrorists or fishermen. I am a little bit concerned that maybe some of the people we're killing aren't actually narco terrorists transporting drugs. I am concerned. That being said, not opposed to the change in policy. And also, the Colombian situation is notable because the Colombian president is a far leftist who is backed by China and Venezuela. And he got into power because the Biden administration did not like the pro-America Colombian administration that was there, knew the Chinese, the Russians, the Cubans, and the Venezuelans were backing Mr. Petro, and decided to do nothing about it because they didn't want to dirty their hands in a foreign election. They didn't want to be accused of meddling in an election, even though foreign powers hostile to us were themselves involved in meddling in the election. So we have an anti-American leader in Colombia, in a country that has largely been pro-America for some time, because the Chinese, the Cubans, the Venezuelans, the Russians got involved in the election to help get a far-left radical elected, and the Biden administration decided they were fine with that. That's why we are in the situation with Colombia. You do need to know that. It doesn't get talked about by the American media because, of course, Joe Biden could do no wrong in their eyes, nor could the progressives who worked for Joe Biden, but it's true. The Biden administration let a regime that had been very pro-America fall into the hands of the Venezuelans and the Chinese. And guess what? That man is allowing drug dealers to leave Colombia and come to the United States years after the United States very famously allied with the Colombian government to root out the Medellin cartel and the like, and decapitate the cocaine dealers of Colombia, not literally, but metaphorically. Venezuela and Colombia together right now are leftist. They don't like the United States and are ruining the lives of their people, which are forcing a refugee crisis into the United States with a lot of people from Colombia and Venezuela. The president rightly and wisely believes if he can shut down that problem, he can shut down the refugee problem, he can shut down the illegal immigrant problem, and he can shut down the gang problem as well. And it makes a lot of sense. And he's not getting credit from the American press, from the Democrats, really from anybody. And all I'm doing is telling you the truth. You people who don't like the president may not like it, but his policy sense in this is sound. Also, I think narco traffickers should be treated as terrorists, and we should blow them up. But also, what I think is very notable here is a presidential administration with a lot of people who have maligned others as globalists is increasingly operating as a globalist regime change-oriented operation and administration where they are perfectly fine to oust Nicolas Maduro and bring pressure to bear for others to oust Nicolas Maduro. Very notable that the Venezuelan opposition leader, who, by the way, National Public Radio has listed the woman as far right. She is, in no sense, is the leader of the opposition in Venezuela far right. In no sense is she far right. Yet, National Public Radio decided in their social media feed to label her as far right. But she's rallied the opposition. She won the Nobel Peace Prize. She credited Donald Trump with her getting the Nobel Peace Prize. He is very invested in ousting Nicolas Maduro because, if you will recall, he came very close to doing so. He lost in 2020. Joe Biden came in and abandoned the plans and then turned a blind eye to what the Chinese and the Venezuelans were doing in Colombia. And Joe Biden let Colombia slip through our fingers and emboldened Nicolas Maduro, and President Trump realizes he's on the clock. He's got less than 4 years. He's got to make a change. He should be commended for trying to disrupt the politics of the northern South American nations, because Maduro himself wants war with Guyana, where we have American oil interests, and the British have interests, our allies. Also, you should know that a lot of the neighbors in the Caribbean aren't particularly keen on Maduro because Trinidad isn't just coming to the United States, it's setting up shop on those islands as well and exacerbating crime on those islands. So getting rid of Maduro and restoring a democratically ordered, American-oriented government in Venezuela is for the good of not just us, but a lot of the Organization of American States partners. Now, you're not going to hear that from the national press, are you? You're not, because they hate Trump and they don't want to give Trump credit for anything. And they don't particularly like anything that advances American interests. They're perfectly fine with the leftist narco states of Colombia and Venezuela working with the Chinese and the Russians and the Cubans against the United States. Don't look now, but the Cuban regime is unraveling as well because of the economic problems in Cuba. Just think about this. Our current president, Donald Trump, could get out of the White House in January 20th, 2029, having confirmed 5 members of the Supreme Court if Alito and Thomas retire, having conducted regime change in Venezuela, Colombia, and Cuba, having decimated Hamas with the help of Israel, wiped out Iran's nuclear capability, and still had a bunch of his supporters bash the globalists. and have the New York Times and the Washington Post and CNN and MSNBC give him no credit for a global realignment towards the United States away from China and away from authoritarianism. They see Donald Trump as so authoritarian they can't even realize he's actually advancing the interest of democracies around the world. It is a mature and consistent foreign policy. It also reflects the priorities and concerns of Marco Rubio, who is clearly a trusted partner for Donald Trump. It's a good thing, and we should be thankful the President of the United States is there and not Kamala Harris, who would make a disaster of all of it were she still there.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
149 in the Cool Ray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. New in Gwinnett County, a crash on I-85 northbound at Pleasantdale Road. Exit 96 has a center left lane blocked, so stay to the right there as you make your way through Gwinnett. You've got some volume building up in the city. I-75-85 southbound slow from 17th Street down to I-20, I-75-85 northbound, just slow around that Grady curve. This report is sponsored by Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Learn more about their support of common threads and nutrition education at anthem.com/dream. Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield is the trade name of Blue Cross Blue Shield Healthcare Plan of Georgia Incorporated. I'm George Clark, 95.5 WSB.
The news of the day through the eyes of Eric Von Hessler.
This might help, young man. This might cure what ails you.
If it's on your mind, it's on his.
I run a stupid little radio show. I don't care. Have fun.
Eric Von Hessler, today at 3.
Your friend, Eric Von Hessler, the common sense host.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
You know the saying, age before beauty? Well, many Atlanta homes built in the 80s and 90s are really showing their age and not so much beauty. Roofs are leaking, windows are drafty, paint is peeling everywhere, and that front door, well, might as well say Y2K, here we come. So many projects, and that means hiring a bunch of contractors, right? Wrong. Hi, this is Candace from Exovations, and have I got a tip for you. When you bundle several projects with Exovations, you can save time, money, and coordinate everything all at once for a truly stress-free experience. From the roof shingle at the top to the last drop of paint on the bottom, Exovations does it all. Roofing, siding, windows, doors, decks, gutters, and more. And with Exovations, you know we'll do your project on time, on budget, and without all that stress you usually hear about in construction. Schedule your free consultation today at exovations.com and bring your home into this millennium.
Y'all, it's Eric. Windows 10 is sunsetting. End of support on October 14th of this year. It's also my anniversary. No end of support for my marriage, just end of support for your computer if you're on Windows 10. You got to update. Now, what does that mean, end of support? It means Microsoft is going to stop issuing security patches for your computer if you're on Windows 10. So you actually do need to update for your own good and safety, and Vision Computers can help you transfer to Windows 11. How do you do it? You call them at 404-COMPUTE and say, Eric sent you, I need some help. They can get you upgraded to Windows 11. It is for your own good and safety and that of your company that you move to Windows 11 because of the security updates, if nothing else. So call Vision Computer at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com. Tell them Eric sent you. You might be able to save some money. You got to get it done before October 14th because you're not going to get security patches from Microsoft after that for Windows 10. Let Vision Computer take care of you. 404-COMPUTER, visioncomputers.com.
It's the Medicare Advantage annual enrollment period, and Humana knows not everyone has the same needs when picking a Medicare Advantage plan.
Now that I'm retired, I want to enjoy the life I've worked hard to build. So I want a plan that covers me when I'm traveling the country.
Humana has a plan for that.
As a veteran, I want a plan that fills in the gaps my VA coverage doesn't provide, like dental care.
Humana has a plan for that.
I feel good about my health. I just want care and coverage with predictable costs. No surprises.
Humana has a plan for that. With a Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you get coverage and benefits that focus on what matters most to you. Learn more at gethumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a Medicare Advantage HMO and PPO organization with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
may not tell you what you want to hear, but he tells you what you need to hear. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
Welcome back. It's Erick Erickson here. One housekeeping note. Unfortunately, just as I've been filling you guys in, the next hour is, I'm not sure what Charlie put together, but I'm not going to be live. I've got to get my wife. We're checking her out of the hospital. Going to take my son to the doctor, and that's just life. I was supposed to be playing golf today, and y'all were going to have a guest host, and the guest host had to cancel because of a family situation, and so I was going to have to go play golf in the morning, come back, do my show, go play golf in the afternoon. Then my wife got hospitalized. My son got sick. I am being Dr. Husband, Dr. Dad, and family first. But thankfully, I can make the show work around the schedule for checking Christy out of the hospital and everything else. So just so you know. Now, I noticed this weekend Al Jazeera. I back up. I've been telling you about the Christian genocide in Nigeria. Bill Maher on his show has been talking about the massive number of Christians murdered in Nigeria. There actually is an Islamic jihadist element, Boko Haram, the terror group, ISIS, and others working together to exterminate the Christians of Nigeria, who have been a majority of the population. And they're reducing in numbers, mostly through murder. There was another church burned this weekend in Nigeria, and the people inside murdered. The Al Jazeera, which is funded by Qatar, wants you to know there's no Christian genocide. It's complicated. It's not really a genocide. It's complicated. They want you to know. They're trying to correct Bill Maher, who raised the issue on his program last week. It is very notable to me that it is yet again a Qatari-funded operation that is being dismissive of these concerns. It was a Qatari-funded operation, Al Jazeera, that was claiming genocide in Gaza. It was Al Jazeera that was claiming Hamas was innocent. It's Al Jazeera right now claiming Hamas is not violating the peace terms of the deal. Al Jazeera is a propaganda network funded by Qatar. Do you know how many people in Washington, D.C. have ties to the Qatari government? I think Kash Patel was a lobbyist for him. I think I read Pam Bondi, maybe not, but I think I read Pam Bondi had also been a lobbyist for him. Democratic lobbyists abound. Qatar spends massive amounts of Washington in Washington on an influence operation. And thankfully, I think Patel and Bondi know what's going on there. They realize it. But for a while there, Patel for sure, I think Bondi were both lobbyists for Qatar. They spin a massive operation in Washington on both sides of the aisle. They fund Al Jazeera, which is a propaganda front, and now they're dismissing the actual reality of genocide against Christians in Nigeria because it is Islamic terrorists who have ties to the Qatari regime who are murdering the Christians. You all need to be aware of this. And today, by the way, the United Nations put up a poster. We put it in the show notes, you can see. It's a poster. It says, with active conflicts at its highest level since 1946, the role of women in peacekeeping is more important than ever. Alongside women on the ground, UN Women is uplifting women's leadership to realize a peaceful world. Hashtag for all women and girls. And the picture is women in burqas. When women lead, peace follows. They're wearing niqab, which is the Taliban's forced clothing for women. These are not women who are making peace. These are women who are submitting to Islamic men. That's the image the UN is purveying. Good Lord. Now, I got to tell you about Swiss America. They are warning people. The first part of this hour, warning people about the economy is not as stable as it appears. There are underlying currents, and Swiss America has been warning people about a secret war on cash. With bank instability out there, with instability in the economy, they want you to be protected. Have you seen what gold is doing? Good gracious. Swiss America is the trusted leader in precious metals in this country, and they're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. They can educate you on the secret war on cash. You get a copy completely for free. All you have to do is call or text 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. Let Swiss America educate you about the secret war on cash in the country. You can also go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric. That's SwissAmerica.com/ERICK. Or just call or text my name, Eric, to 800-289-2646. Text Eric, ERICK, to 289-2646. Let Swiss America educate you. Message and data rates may apply.
WSB Atlanta, WSB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
What they're doing for veterans in Cobb County Tuesday. We'll tell you when Atlanta's morning news starts at 5 a.m. I'm Chris Chandler, plus breaking stories from overnights and why Clark Howard carries an extremely thin wallet on WSB.
More and more these days, people are in pain, are taking control of their health and looking beyond the traditional medicine. Hey, it's Mark here. That's why QC Kinetics is so successful. People with chronic joint pain are learning that there are other options besides steroids, meds, and surgery. Patients fighting pain are getting lasting relief using advanced cellular treatments. It's QC Kinetics regenerative medicine that can revitalize your joints using growth factors from your own body. And check it out, guys. It's a simple injection. No hospital stay. It's fast, all natural, and no downtime. I want you to call QC Kinetics and get a free consultation. Exercise your freedom to look beyond the same old solutions. Thousands of patients around the country finding a better life with QC Kinetics and their amazing regenerative treatments. Call now to get started. 770-285-8026. That's 770-285-8026. Appointments available on Saturdays. Lawrenceville, Sandy Springs, Marietta, Stockbridge, Decatur, and Douglasville.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. Marietta police are asking for the public's help as they investigate a shooting that leaves a teenager in the hospital. Here's a report all new at 2 o'clock.
Police received multiple calls about a shooting at a strip mall on Franklin Gateway Saturday night. Marietta's Chuck McPhillamy says officers found one victim when they arrived.
They located a 16-year-old juvenile male hiding between two vehicles that were parked and unoccupied. That 16-year-old was struck by gunfire.
The victim was taken to the hospital and was in critical but stable condition. Police would like to hear from anyone who has information about that weekend shooting. Lisa Nicholas, 95.5 WSB.
70 degrees in Atlanta. Do we drop back into the 40s tomorrow morning? Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. The victim killed in a road rage crash on I-75 over the weekend is identified by the Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office as 21-year-old Damari Jordan. The State Patrol says it was a road rage incident that escalated into a shootout between two drivers. The victim was then hit by an unknown vehicle that drove away from the scene. A police vehicle also hit the man. The medical examiner has not yet released the cause of death. Amazon says its cloud computing services are recovering once again. This comes just hours after it had said the issue was fully mitigated, only for new issues to pop up. Mike Dubusky reports some popular websites experienced technical issues.
Amazon Web Services says the problem is tied to its domain name service. DNS is the technology that translates what you type into a web browser like Facebook.com into an IP address, which tells the computer where to go on the internet.
In a major win for the city of South Fulton, it's receiving $111,000 to target dangerous driving. The money from the governor's Office of Highway Safety will support efforts aimed at making city streets safer. A new poll finds 1 in 10 preschoolers play outside once a week or less. Sarah Clark co-directed the poll for the C.S. Mott Children's Hospital. She says kids need outdoor playtime.
Because that's really the key to young kids having physical, social, cognitive development.
Clark says families are busy, but parents need to carve out more playtime, even if it's just a few minutes a day. It is now 2:02. This news sponsored by Brett Beckers. Up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
Imagine having your guests arrive for the holidays in your cluttered walk-in closet, disorganized pantry, dirt-stained mudroom, box-filled garage, and master closet with outdated wire racks have all been professionally upgraded to maximize their space and potential by the team at Artisan Custom Closets. Dave Baker here. Schedule your free design consultation today with a certified master artisan designer at artisancustomclosets.com and reward yourself with affordable luxury over the holidays. artisancustomclosets.com.
This is Monica
Veronica Pearson for My Plumber Superior Plumbing. The owner, Jay Cunningham, has been serving Atlanta for almost 40 years. They are Atlanta's plumber. Most other plumbing companies have been purchased by private equity conglomerates. Superior Plumbing is entrenched in the community, but the reason I chose Superior Plumbing is that they respect your time with on-time appointments and quality work done right the first time.
Superior, the honest one. Call 770-422-PLUM.
Hi, I'm David Nicholas, financial advisor and president of Nicholas Wealth Management. But most importantly, I'm a husband and a father. The three most important things in my life are faith, family, and freedom. Unfortunately, I think we're facing threats to all three. The yahoos in Washington want to erode our wealth by inflation, regulation, and out-of-control spending. Deficits, robbed Social Security, and inflation have devalued our dollar and made raising a family nearly impossible. And frankly, I'm sick and tired of it. The federal government is 40% bigger today than it was before COVID. I think that means taxes are going higher. Don't let higher taxes devastate your retirement accounts. At Nicholas Wealth, we have CPAs and CFPs that can show you how to shelter your retirement accounts from higher taxes. Our Retire Ready tax analysis is a $1,000 value, but we'll provide it completely complimentary for callers who have saved more than $250,000 for retirement and give us a call in the next 10 minutes. The number to call is 404-890-5606. That's 404-890-5606, or you can go to nicholaswealth.com.
Nicholas Wealth is an independent financial services firm that uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is prepared for informational purposes only. It does not address specific investment objectives or the financial situation and the needs of any person. This is a paid advertisement.
It's now 2:05, time for live team coverage of traffic and weather in the 24-hour traffic center. It's George Clark.
Good news in Gwinnett County. That earlier crash on I-85 northbound at Pleasantdale Road, exit 96 has cleared. Things are still slow, especially getting from I-285 southbound to I-85 northbound, so just keep that in mind. You've got some road work out in Lawrenceville. That's on Highway 316 in both directions. One right lane is blocked near High Hope Road. And in Ackworth, you've got one right lane blocked. Ooh, it might be a crash there now, too, in Ackworth on I-75 northbound. Right there at Glade Road, exit 278. It looks like it's getting extra slow there. I'm George Clark, 95.5 WSB.
Sunny skies today and cool, high 72. Right now it's 66 in Sandy Springs, 70 in Douglasville, and 69 in Hampton. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
You're listening to the best of the Eric Erickson Show. Listen to the show live, weekdays noon to 3 p.m. at ericerickson.com.
Hello, America. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number, 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be delighted to have you. We are keeping our eye on the White House. The President of the United States and the President of Ukraine are there to be meeting. There are active conversations about the use of Tomahawk missiles inside Ukraine by the president. He is seriously thinking of granting permission to Ukraine to use those Tomahawk missiles. Now, we are told something new that we didn't know the other day. It turns out, didn't scare me this time. Dude just went past my window. I'm 7 floors up. He's on one of those window washing thingy bridges, and there he goes. Wow. Okay, sorry. So we're told that it was Vladimir Putin who asked for the meeting with Donald Trump. It was not a Trump-initiated conversation. It was a Putin-initiated conversation. And it came after President Trump openly suggested that he would send Ukraine Tomahawk missiles. The Tomahawk missiles would give the Ukrainians long-range capabilities. Those long-range capabilities would be able to reach the drone factories within Russia. Not only that, they would be able to reach power plants within Russia. They would be able to reach natural gas depots and hubs inside Russia. The Russians have been bombing the Ukrainian power grid pretty heavily over the last month. So it is October, obviously. And in October, it starts to get cold in Ukraine, and it's going to get colder and colder over there. And before winter sets in, the Russians have been blowing up the various bits of Ukraine's power grid that they're capable of blowing up. They have targeted natural gas supplies within Ukraine, and Ukraine would like to reciprocate because Russia is so big, the largest country on the planet. It's hard to make the Russians feel the way the Ukrainians feel. The Russians have their own problems. The Russians are short of food. The Russians have real issues. But the Russians typically have their lights on at night and have heat at night in ways the Ukrainians do not. If you expand the missile reach of the Ukrainians, well, then you expand their capacity to wage war. You expand their ability to inflict damage on the Russians, and you probably more quickly bring this situation to an end. While we are waiting on the president of Ukraine and United States, there's another story. Now, those of you down in Lafayette, notice, by the way, so I live in Georgia, but I am from Louisiana. And so I know it's Lafayette, Louisiana. In Georgia, for reasons that flummox me to no end, they say Lafayette. Now, here in Georgia, we have Vienna, Georgia, home of the Vienna sausage, except it's Vienna. My wife, to this day, she likes pigs in a blanket, and she says, will you go get me some Vienna sausages from the grocery store? It's like, I don't know what that is. Do you mean a Vienna sausage? And she gets mad at me. She also says pecan, and I say that's something you flush, but that's neither here nor there. We also have Cairo, Georgia, which you would think is like the syrup, K-A-R-O, but nope, it's spelled Cairo, but they pronounce it Cairo. My favorite is we have Houston County in Georgia, but it's Houston County in Georgia. Y'all, I got no idea. I don't know. I don't know. I've told the story before. I one time worked for a member of Congress who had a lady from Chicago come down, and she did not know the uniqueness of the pronunciations in Georgia. So she went to what in Illinois is Coeur d'Alene and said Coeur d'Alene, but in Georgia we say Cordial. And, well, it caused problems. So in any event, it's Lafayette, Louisiana. It is God's country. The food there is fantastic. Now it makes me miss Don's, among other things. But a Lafayette resident has been charged in connection with the October 7th, 2023 terrorist attack on Israel, court documents show. Mahmoud Ahmed Yaqib al-Muhtadi, 33, is charged with providing, attempting to provide, or conspiring to provide material support to a foreign terrorist organization and visa fraud in federal court. Online jail records show he's being held in St. Martin Parish Jail. Al-Muhtadi is accused of being part of the military wing of the Democratic Front for the Liberation of Palestine, which carried out one of a series of terrorist attacks on Israel that killed over 1,200 people. Cell phone records pinged Al-Muhtadi's phone to a cell tower in Kfar Aza, the site of one of the attacks. Prosecutors also obtained recorded calls that allegedly showed Al-Muhtadi used that phone to organize a group to participate in the attack. Accordingly, 60 people were killed and 19 others were kidnapped in that attack. He's alleged to have falsified the application for a visa to enter the United States. Officials said he was living and working in Lafayette. The criminal complaint was filed October 6th under seal in federal court in Lafayette and unsealed late Thursday, signed by FBI Special Agent Alexandria Thomas O'Donnell, who's described as having almost as many names in her name as the terrorist. I made that part up. I mean, you got Special Agent Alexandria M. Tolman O'Donnell indicting Muhammad Ahmed Yaqub al-Matadi. Okay. Well, she's a counterterrorism expert assigned to investigate the murders and kidnappings of Americans on October 7th. So just think about this. Joe Biden, President of the United States of America, allowed into the country one of the people who participated in the October 7th attacks. This is how screwed up immigration was under Joe Biden. One of the Hamas terrorists who participated in the October 7th, 2023 attack was granted permission to enter the United States by the Biden administration, and he took up residence in Lafayette, Louisiana. That's how screwed up it was. He falsified his application for a visa to enter the United States. His cell phone tracks him to one of the terror sites. Notwithstanding all of that, the Biden administration let him into the country, and he's been working in a restaurant in Lafayette, Louisiana. This man went from shooting people in the head to sucking the heads of crawfish in Louisiana and thought he could get away with it. And it was not the Biden administration that caught him. It was the Biden administration that let him into the country. It was the Trump administration that caught him and is going to prosecute him. He's in prison now. The counterterrorism expert of the FBI who was assigned to help deal with the victims, murders, kidnappings, and terrorists involved on October 7th tracked him down and found him in Louisiana. Led into the United States by Joe Biden and his administration. I got a real problem with the failures of the Biden administration on this one. I mean, seriously, y'all. How do you do this? You open the borders to everybody, and a guy lies about his background, and you don't verify it before you let him in. You let him in and then decide you're going to try to verify it. And it turns out to be fraudulent. It's absurd to me. It's genuinely absurd to me that we are at a point where the Democrats took our border so unseriously that one of the people who allegedly was involved in the attacks on October 7th could take up residence in the United States, and of all places, Lafayette. I love Lafayette. I love South Louisiana. I grew up there. In fact, I worked with a guy in Middle Georgia who is an older gentleman years ago. I mean, he was old long time ago, passed away since. He and his wife used to get in the car and drive to Préjean's, which is an incredible Cajun restaurant in Lafayette. They would drive from Macon, Georgia to Lafayette, Louisiana for the sole purpose of eating at Préjean's. That's how good the restaurant is. I've been to Lafayette many times. They are really good people. They are hardworking, kind souls in Cajun country. And allegedly a murderer of Jews from October 7th decided to land there and take a job and hide out. I gotta say, it is the last place on planet Earth I would expect one of the October 7th combatants to hide out. And while he was there, undoubtedly, he encountered many of the wonderful people of South Louisiana who didn't care where he was from. Many of the people from Lafayette work for oil companies, some of whom have been overseas to the Middle East. He had fantastic food while he was there. You know, and I know he wasn't keeping halal in South Louisiana. You get offered boudin, you're going to eat the boudin. But there he hid, thanks to the Biden administration, allowing a terrorist into the country. Now, I'm going to go on and step out here because I have a sneaking suspicion if I wait too much longer to go out. While we're in commercial break, the president of the United States and Volodymyr Zelensky will start speaking, and I don't want to miss it. So I want to be good with clock management. So I'm going to go on now and step out. When we come back, hopefully by then we will have the presidents of Ukraine and the United States in the Oval Office talking. And who knows, maybe it'll be another big spectacle like that first time. I'm hoping not, though. I'm hoping we get a real commitment to help Ukraine here, because the president of the United States, I think, is getting tired of dealing with the president of Russia making promises he has no intention of keeping.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
218 in the Cool Lake area, WSB 24-hour traffic center, and you've got delays now in Ackworth on I-75 northbound due to a crash. That's at Glade Road, Highway 92, and that's exit number 277. It's got a center lane blocked. You can use Highway 92 as an alternative to avoid those delays. And just north of that on I-75 northbound, you've got one right lane blocked due to road work. This report is sponsored by Staples. Have you heard? The Staples Easy button is back with even more easy. Press it for custom prints, shipping services, even passport photos. Staples, that was easy. I'm George Clark, 95.5 WSB.
The U.S. is investing up to $1 billion to fight the spread of bird flu.
At the top and bottom of every hour.
Traffic congestion around Metro Atlanta continues to cost commuters.
And when it breaks.
The suspect is in critical condition after being struck multiple times.
Check back 3, 4, 5 times a day for the latest.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station.
Want to save 1,000 bones on your next roof? Dave Baker here for Findlay Roofing, the roof guys. Right now, save $1,000 on your roof replacement. Hurry, this treat ends on Halloween. FindlayRoofing.com.
This is Wes Moss from Money Matters. You know, retirement is a lot like football. The best teams don't just show up on game day. They've got great coaches and a smart game plan. Without one, things go off the rails quickly. At Capital Investment Advisors, we would act as your retirement coach, building both the big picture strategy and the detailed plays that aim to help you score the retirement you want. Don't go into retirement with a bad playbook. Visit us at yourwealth.com. That's YOURwealth.com.
Hey y'all, it's Belinda Skelton for Four Seasons Home Care. As many of you know, I lost both my parents recently, but I'm so thankful they were able to finish their lives at home where they wanted to be. And Four Seasons Home Care was so helpful to my family throughout the process. I get emails from listeners all the time and why I trusted Four Seasons Home Care. They tell me I don't want just anyone to care for my parents. Well, of course you don't. So here's why I work with Four Seasons Home Care. This is a real family-owned company. They vet and hire every single one of their caregiving specialists, and they don't farm out the care to contractors, and they're not some national corporation. So here's my advice, folks. Call Four Seasons Home Care and just start the conversation. Do your homework. This is a huge decision. It's a 100% free call that can change everything. Google Four Seasons Home Care Atlanta. That's Four Seasons Home Care Atlanta.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS.
1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
Can you guys believe Halloween is approaching, Thanksgiving, Christmas? Omaha Steaks is helping you out right now with an early Black Friday sale. You can get 50% off site-wide right now, and you get an extra 20% off select favorites and more. It's limited time deals because it's the early Black Friday sale. You want the caramel apple tartlets, but listen, if you're just into meal prep or you're tired of the family arguing over dinner, you load up the deliciousness.
From Omaha Steaks, I load up on the New York strips. It's what I feed the guys on Sunday nights for football weather. Grilling, it's fantastic, and I take advantage of this discount as well. And then here's the thing. At checkout, you use promo code ERIC, and you get an extra $35 off. Minimum order required. The unbelievable savings. 50% off site-wide, 20% off select favorites for a limited time for early Black Friday, and an extra $35 off. And all you do is go to omahasteaks.com, load up your cart. At checkout, you put in ERIC, E-R-I-C-K. Start saving real big today.
Hi, I'm Becca, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. As an in-house designer, I can't wait for you to see our incredible selection of stylish and stackable rings. If you're shopping for your wedding bands, we have high-quality designs for every style and budget, from romantic to modern. If you're looking to add to a stack, your options are endless. Discover styles with clusters of gemstones, sleek all-metal designs, updated cigar bands, and signet rings perfect for an engraving. Because a friend knows you like options. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Whether it's a walk-in closet, master closet, or pantry, unlock the true potential of your storage areas in time for the holidays. Schedule your free design consultation today at artisancustomclosets.com and reward yourself with affordable luxury this holiday season.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Just joined us? No worries. Check out the Eric Erickson Show 24/7 stream at ericerickson.com. Available for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto.
I'm coming. Sending a note to my wife. The phone number, 877-973-7425, should you wish to be on the program, except, I'm sorry, it's just habit at this point. It's always good for you to have the phone number if you want to call, but I don't have a call screener today because it's hunting season. My buddy Emery texted me, he says, can I have Charlie's job? I would say yeah, except he would take the day off to go hunting too, because he's a bigger redneck than my producer. You can, by the way, if you want to send a voice memo to the show, send your name and the city you're in with your short, pithy, to the point audio voice memo to contact at ewerickson.com. And, well, we will review it. My team will review it to see if you're an appropriate fit for our radio program as we await. Looking at a live shot here of the White House, waiting for something. We assume we're going to be invited into the Oval Office for remarks. We don't know yet, but we are awaiting the situation. I think they're actually waiting for Zelensky showing up. We'll see what happens. I want to bring you the latest when we get to it. There's a lot of other stuff happening out there, including the No Kings protest. I got some other strong thoughts on this. In the meantime, my buddy Ben Domenech, but for whom I would not have this job, he and several friends of mine got Red State started and put me in charge of it back in the day, and one thing led to another. He's now the editor at The Spectator World, or the American Spectator, not the American. This is complicated. It's The Spectator U.S. edition. He's got a piece, Schrodinger's Covert Action. While much of the pushback from the right wing to Donald Trump's international hawkishness has come from voices focused on the Middle East and feared potential for wider wars prompted by support for Israel, the actual test of a break within the Republican coalition on foreign policy disputes could come over the president's stepped-up focus on Venezuela. The most recent development, with Trump issuing a rare public acknowledgement he's authorized covert CIA actions on land. I authorized for two reasons, really, he explained. Number one, they've emptied their prisons into the United States, and the other things are drugs. We have a lot of drugs coming in from Venezuela, and a lot of Venezuelan drugs coming in through the sea. Think of it as Schrodinger's covert action. Does it really stay covert once you announce it? This would also seem to go against Trump's stand against starting new wars, particularly those with a mind on regime change, which some of the president's more hawkish supporters would clearly like to be the ultimate aim. It also includes newly ordained Nobel Prize winner Maria Corina Machado, who took to the airwaves in an interview with Christiane Amanpour this week, practically begging Trump to greater action against Maduro. The sheer amount of resources the United States has moved into the region is impressive, well beyond the drones being used to take out a series of Venezuelan drug shipments at sea. Here's the Wall Street Journal. Quote, the U.S. has moved advanced weaponry into the Caribbean and in the skies north of Venezuela, including 8 Navy warships, an attack submarine, F-35B jet fighters, P-8 Poseidon spy planes, MQ-9 Reaper drones. The Pentagon has deployed elite special operations forces, including the Army's secretive 160th Special Operations Aviation Regime, the Night Stalkers, a U.S. official said. Large troop-carrying and attack helicopters in the mix, as are aircraft conducting training flights. Something is clearly going on there. Something's clearly going on in the markets right now as well. Things seem to be upending. The regional banks, the economics seem to be souring there. Swiss America has been warning people about a secret war on cash for some time. They would love to send you their great special free report, The Secret War on Cash. You get a free copy by calling or texting 800-289-2646. Just mention Eric, E-R-I-C-K, when you call or text 800-289-2646. 800-289-2646. Swiss America will send you their report, The Secret War on Cash, completely for free. You can also go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric, SwissAmerica.com/ERICK. Let Swiss America get you their Secret War on Cash report completely free. It can help with your retirement and your finances. It can help you and keep you educated on what the government is doing. The phone number one more time, text my name, Eric, to 800-289-2646, or go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric. Message and data rates may apply. Volodymyr Zelensky and President Trump have just begun meeting at the White House. They have walked into the building. We'll bring you the latest when we get back.
He's the guy at the desk next to you.
It's not as bad as it could be.
He's your co-pilot for the ride home.
Hey, the ladies are at home. Let's smoke cigars.
Eric Von Haessler.
Some sort of cultural affirmation. Yes, I am this kind of man.
Today at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk. Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. Atlanta police are holding a news conference next hour to discuss an incident earlier today at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. Police tell us they expect this incident to receive national attention. WSB's Veronica Waters will be at the APD news conference, and we'll have more information later this afternoon. Check back for updates. A 16-year-old is in critical condition after a shooting in Marietta. Police are asking for the public's help as they search for leads in the shooting Saturday night at a strip mall on Franklin Gateway.
The preliminary information suggests that there were 2 different shooters, but that's not yet confirmed.
Officer Chuck McPhillamy with Marietta Police says it's unknown if the teen victim was involved somehow or if he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. We are getting a clearer picture now of who is homeless in Fulton County. The latest report from the Fulton County Continuum of Care finds most of the county's homeless are adults. More than 18% of the homeless are children under the age of 18. Over half rely on homeless shelters or transitional housing. The report finds an overall decrease in homelessness in Fulton County of more than 28% from last year. Amazon says its cloud computing services are recovering once again. This comes just hours after it had said the issue was fully mitigated for some new issues to pop up. Some popular websites experienced technical issues. It is now 2:31. This news is sponsored by FGA Roofing. Up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
This is Jonathan Geller at D. Geller & Son Jewelers, where we've been bringing the top jewelry designers in the world to Atlanta since 1939. And we're doing it again this weekend only for our fall bridal event. Choose from 20% off all bridal and diamond jewelry, 0% APR financing for 3 years, or free travel bans with the purchase of your precious metal band. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, in Kennesaw and Sandy Springs. Make an appointment at dgeller.com.
Affordable jewelry for everyone is at D. Geller & Son.
It's time to renovate your home and you've got designs in your head, but will they pass code? Hire Sketchhouse Architects before you call a builder to make sure your design is up to code and zoning compliant. Hi, I'm Richard Taylor, architect at Sketchhouse. We're going to make this easy to get your ideas on paper, and Sketchhouse will connect you with multiple builders to bid on your job through the Sketchhouse Builders Network. You're going to save thousands of dollars with Sketchhouse Architects. We're going to make this easy for you. Go to sketchhouse.com. That's sketch, H-A-U-S, sketchhouse.com.
More and more these days, people are in pain, are taking control of their health and looking beyond the traditional medicine. Hey, it's Mark here. That's why QC Kinetics is so successful. People with chronic joint pain are learning that there are other options besides steroids, meds, and surgery. Patients fighting pain are getting lasting relief using advanced cellular treatments. It's QC Kinetics regenerative medicine that can revitalize your joints using growth factors from your own body. And check it out, guys. It's a simple injection. No hospital stay. It's fast, all natural, and no downtime. I want you to call QC Kinetics and get a free consultation. Exercise your freedom to look beyond the same old solutions. Thousands of patients around the country finding a better life with QC Kinetics and their amazing regenerative treatments. Call now to get started. 770-285-8026. That's 770-285-8026. Appointments available on Saturdays. Lawrenceville, Sandy Springs, Marietta, Stockbridge, Decatur, and Douglasville.
Hi, I'm Dale with TrustDale.com. For over a decade, I've trusted America's best choice for windows, doors, siding, and decks. And with their 3-way warranty, including my $10,000 Make It Right guarantee, you can invest with confidence.
That's right, Dale. America's Best Choice offers highest quality, energy-efficient windows and special pricing on custom decks. We also offer beautiful siding, doors, and now roofing, all with no pressure, no gimmicks. Visit abcwin.com for your free in-home estimate. America's Best Choice. Quality you can trust, prices you can afford.
At 2:34, George Clark is in the traffic center.
Yes, we've got some delays in Ackworth on I-75 northbound. There is a crash that's off in the right shoulder at Glade Road, exit 278. That isn't blocking any lanes, but just north of that, lanes are blocked due to road work. One right lane is blocked between Glade Road and Old Alatuna Road, so things are slow getting out of Ackworth there. And you've got delays in Lawrenceville. Both directions of Highway 316 have one right lane blocked right there at High Hope Road, and that's due to road work there. And you've got the volume in the city, I-75-85 southbound slow from 17th down to I-20, I-75-85 northbound slow from University Avenue up to 10th Street. I'm George Clark, 95.5 WSB.
Sunny and 72 today, a little warmer tomorrow. Right now 72 in Tucker, 69 in Villa Rica, 69 in Fairburn. More news at 3 o'clock, breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
Greetings, conversationalists. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. We are waiting for the presidents of Ukraine and the United States to speak publicly from the Oval Office. It appears, let's jump over. It is perfect timing. They waited for me to get back from commercial break for this. We're going to the Oval Office with the President of the United States and of Volodymyr Zelensky. They are sitting inside the cabinet room. I'm waiting for my TV system here that I have in the office. It's on a little bit of a delay, and I want to be able to jump into here. Let's go listen, if we can, as this thing loads.
Need to hear what Mr. Trump has to say.
We put on his music, right? It was great. Great guy. He's coming December 5th to perform at the White House for some of the people. If the cabinet members are good, if they're doing a good job, we'll let them come along with some others, right? We're going to have a good time. December 5th. Well, thank you very much, everybody. It's an honor to be with a very strong leader, a man who has been through a lot, and a man who I've gotten to know very well, and we've gotten along really very well. And we had a big call yesterday, as you know, with President Putin, and we'll be talking about it. President Zelensky of Ukraine has endured a lot. I mean, he really has. He's endured a lot. And we've endured it with him. To be honest, it's been a long time, and I think we're making great progress. So we're going to be talking about that today. We'll be talking about what took place yesterday with my phone call with President Putin. and I think that things are coming along pretty well. It began with Alaska, where I think certain guidelines were discussed, and we want to see if we can get this done. This was long ago into the Biden administration. I came here and we inherited this, and we'd like to see if we could finish it, end it. We want it ended. So many people have died in this war, and we're gonna get it ended. So I just want to thank you all very much. If you have a couple of questions, go ahead, please. In fact, before I do that, let me just ask the President to say a few words. Thank you, President.
Pleasure. Glad to meet you again, Mr. President. Thank you very much for the invitation. Again, my congratulations with your successful ceasefire in the Middle East.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you did it, and I think this is the momentum to finish Russia's war against Ukraine. I think that, yes, we understand that Putin is not ready. I think not ready, but I think that I'm confident that with your help, we can stop this war. And we really need it. We see that they don't have successful steps on the battlefield, and it's good. I think that their army is weak now, but a lot of losses. They have a lot of losses in economy and people, and I think this is a very important moment. And I wanted to thank you, Mr. President, after our phone calls. Yesterday, I had a good opportunity to meet with the big American energy companies, and they're ready to help us. Yes, after all these attacks on our infrastructure, Russian attacks, and etc. And I had also meetings, thanks to your team. We had meetings with a good military companies who spoke about air defense, and I want to share it after with details where we are. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Mr.
Very good. And I think he looks beautiful in his jacket.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I hope people notice. It's actually very stylish. I like it. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Under the Biden administration, the White House was fearing of a possible escalation. They were not allowing the Ukrainians to strike into Russia, fearing of this escalation.
Yeah.
Would your administration allow Ukrainians to strike deep into Russia?
We're going to be talking about that. That's something we'll be talking about. You're right. It's an escalation, but we'll be talking about that.
Mr. President, President Zelensky joined you in Hungary to meet President Putin.
Because it's a leader that we like. We like Viktor Orban. He likes him. I like him. It's a country that's a safe country. Done a very good job. He's been a very good leader in the sense of running his country. He doesn't have a lot of the problems that other countries have. And so we've decided that we'll be going to be with Viktor Orban, and I think he'll be a very good host.
President Trump, President Trump, right here. President Trump.
Hungary, yeah. We're doing Hungary, yeah.
With Putin, trilateral meeting, or is it just you and Putin?
To be determined, but I would say most likely it's going to be a double meeting. It'll be a double meeting, but we will have the President, Zelensky, in touch. There's a lot of bad blood with the two presidents, and I'm not speaking out of turn when I say it. It's a very difficult situation. You know, we just settled the war, and after thousands of years, I guess, people say anywhere from 500 to 3,000 years. And I was in rooms, as you saw, because you were with me, a lot of you were with me last week, with leaders that didn't like each other, but they were able to get along. These two leaders do not like each other, and we want to make it comfortable for everybody. So one way or the other, we'll be involved in threes, but it may be separated.
President Trump, President Trump doesn't agree to peace in Hungary.
Was he what? Where are you from?
From Ukraine. He actually had
Okay, good. Good, yeah.
What if President Putin doesn't agree to peace in Hungary? What do you do then? Do you have...
Well, let's see what happens. I mean, you know, what if? I think he will. I think that President Putin wants to end the war, or I wouldn't be talking this way. I think he wants to end the war. I spoke to him yesterday for 2.5 hours. We went through a lot of details. He wants to get it ended. I think that President Zelensky wants to get it ended. Now we have to get it done.
President Trump, Kara Castronova from Lindell TV. And although I love asking you questions, today my question is for President Zelensky.
Sure. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. Our President Zelensky, President Trump, just brokered a peace deal in the Middle East that all Americans, both sides of the aisle, are very proud of. But to meet that deal, both sides had to make concessions. Our president has stuck out his neck in many ways to make a peace deal for your war as well. What specific concessions are you willing to make to end this war with Russia? Will you give up joining NATO? Americans have foreign war fatigue, and our president, as he said, we need our Tomahawks too.
To me?
Yes, you, President
Okay.
Zelensky.
Thank you very much.
That's some question.
So many questions in one. Thank you very much for your question. First of all, I think we need to sit and speak. The second point, we need ceasefire. Even now, you see in the Middle East, it's very difficult to hold ceasefire. Everywhere, in every war, it's very difficult. We want peace. Putin doesn't want. That's why we need pressure on him. We will speak with President today what we need. We understand what we need to push Putin to negotiation table. And as I said previously, so we are ready to speak in any kind of format, bilateral, trilateral, doesn't matter. Matter just peace. This is important. And we don't speak about NATO or NATO. For Ukrainians, it's very important. Of course, it's our decisions of allies to decide where we are.
But are you willing to give
Yes,
up
but
joining
the
NATO?
most important thing for people in Ukraine, which are under each day's attacks, to have really strong security guarantees. NATO is the best, but weapon is very important. Allies on our side is very important, and between us, for us, bilateral security guarantees between me and President Trump is very important. I don't know, we didn't speak with details about it, but this is the most important document because the United States is very strong.
Sir, President Trump, you are the middleman right now, hoping to end this conflict. Who is doing a better job negotiating, President Zelensky or President Putin?
I think they're both doing a great job in that sense. We have to get it done. We've got to take some of the hatred of each other. You know, they don't like each other. I say that in front of President Zelensky, but I say it in front of President Putin too. They have tremendous bad blood. It really is what is holding up, I think, a settlement. I think we're going to get it done, and we have to make it long-lasting. As I said in the Middle East, everlasting, right? Everlasting. And the Middle East is a much more complicated situation. You know, we had 59 countries involved, and every one of them agreed. And it's, you know, it's sort of amazing. Most people didn't think that was doable. This is going to be something I really believe that's going to get done. I had a very good talk yesterday with President Putin. I think he wants to get it done.
President Zelensky, right behind you. When we were in Israel with President Trump earlier in the week, we heard a lot about the difference in diplomacy between President Trump and President Joe Biden before him. What do you see as the biggest difference in diplomacy between President Trump and President Biden?
President Trump has a big chance now to finish this war. President Biden now is not the president, so he doesn't have a chance to finish this war. And President Trump is really showed for the world that he can manage ceasefire in Middle East. And that's why I hope that he will do this, and we will also have such big success. For Ukraine, it's a big chance. And I hope that President Trump can manage it.
We'll step out of there right now. This is the presidents of the United States and Ukraine meeting in the cabinet room, surrounded by, you've got J.D. Vance there, Marco Rubio, you've got the diplomatic team. They will, after this session, have some private closed-door conversations. Yeah, you know, if I were president, I got to say, I think the thing that would annoy me the most is the reporters are, President Trump, just like have somebody in there pointing and shut the reporters up. Goodness gracious. Listen, y'all know where I stand on this. I think that Vladimir Putin doesn't really want peace. I don't think he can afford to bring his soldiers home out of Ukraine because many of them were let out of prison. They were killers. They were sent to the front lines where they just learned to get better at killing. And having them go back to Russia, I think, would be destabilizing. I think that Vladimir Putin has caught the tiger by the tail and can't let go of this. But if anyone can get him to let go and make sure he doesn't get devoured by the tiger so he does let go and gives peace, it's probably Trump. I mean, Armenia and Azerbaijan hate each other. He's brought peace to them. India and Pakistan, they hate each other. He's gotten peace there. Hamas and Israel hate each other. He's gotten a modicum of peace there. He's gotten Arab neighbors who despise Donald Trump or despise Israel to recognize Israel. So, I say give the man the benefit of the doubt. Give him the benefit of the doubt, see what he can do. If he can bring peace to the Middle East, maybe he can bring peace to this situation. I just hope that we keep and recognize it was the Russians that invaded Ukraine. There would have been no war but for the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The Russians are not exactly honest brokers in this. So hopefully the president and his team, I think Marco Rubio in particular, does not like Vladimir Putin and will be willing to hold a firm line. Let's step out. If they're still talking, when we come back, I'll jump back over to the White House.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
248 in the Cool Ray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. New in Cobb County, a crash on I-285 westbound. The outer loop at Cobb Parkway, exit 19, currently has one right lane blocked. There is a vehicle that is off in the left shoulder that was involved in that crash, so expect more delays when authorities arrive. They may have to close all lanes there when to get that vehicle from the left shoulder over to the right shoulder, so keep that in mind. Maybe avoid I-285 at I-75 there in Cobb County. You can use Windy Hill Road as an alternate, and you've got delays in Midtown, I-75-85 southbound, slow from 17th Street down to I-20. And this report is sponsored. It's sponsored by Staples. Have you heard the Staples Easy button is back with even more easy? Press it for custom prints, shipping services, even passport photos. Staples, that was easy. I'm George Clark, 95.5 WSB.
More local news.
Full ground stop at the airport. Meanwhile, Governor Kemp reacting.
More traffic.
Interloop injury crash, 2 left lanes.
More weather.
This thunderstorm is capable of producing a quick spin up.
Atlanta's Morning News. Tomorrow morning at 5.
Wake up with 95.5 WSB.
How Atlanta starts its day.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, every week on the show, we offer folks something we call the Portfolio X-Ray. I was hoping you could walk us through that process and tell us why the information it uncovers is so powerful.
Yeah, so the reason we love doing the Portfolio X-Ray for you is we do that behind the scenes. Everybody's extremely busy. Nobody wants to waste time in traffic. If you call in, we will ask you for some information via the phone. Once you've given us that information, we go to work and we put all the hours in developing the report. And I commit this to you. The Portfolio X-Ray is eye-opening. At least 90+% of the time, we can find 2 or 3 golden nuggets in there that you were not aware of that we can either change in your current portfolio mix for you. It's called a 401k optimizer. Or if we manage the assets for you, we certainly can recommend how to diversify away from some of the troubling points that are exposed during the Portfolio X-ray. Once we've got that, then we'll have you in for your initial consultation. We will present the Portfolio X-ray to you and walk you through the high points of it. And that's a document that you get to take with you. It's like getting a financial physical. Mm-hmm. So how many of you avoided going to the doctor for the annual physical last year? You do the same thing with your financial life. You ignore it. You keep pumping money into your 401k. You hope that it's going well, and I can tell you that hope is not a good investment or financial planning strategy. You need to know. So if you want to know, call us.
The Portfolio X-Ray is complimentary. Give Hoffman Financial Group a call to schedule yours today. 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
Are you a parent of a 2 to 8-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting offer, then head to abcmouse.com/radio to learn more. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the award-winning online learning program.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Designed by education experts, ABC Mouse seamlessly aligns with what your child is already learning in school. And with over 10,000 learning activities and more than 850 lessons, it's an engaging and comprehensive curriculum. More info at abcmouse.com/radio.
I have been teaching for 13 years, and I've never seen a program like ABC Mouse. It encompasses science, math, reading, social studies.
We're offering a promo at abcmouse.com/radio to try it free for a month, then $14.99 per month until canceled. Go to abcmouse.com/radio to see this offer. That's abcmouse.com/radio. Actual ABC Mouse users compensated for their testimonials. Sponsored by Age of Learning.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
President of the United States still speaking in the cabinet room with Volodymyr Zelensky. Let's jump back to that. The president answering questions from reporters.
But we're in it to see that end. And if we can end quickly, and I think we can. I mean, I had a very good talk yesterday. We're going to be talking about it. But I had a very productive talk yesterday with President Putin. We'll see what happens. But the war in the Middle East was far more complicated. We got that one done. And I think we have a good chance. I think President Zelensky wants it done, and I think President Putin wants it done. Now all they have to do is get along a little bit.
Can you give us an update on the trade negotiations with China, or perhaps Secretary Bessent?
Yeah, I will, and I'm going to let Scott do that. But I think we're doing very well. I think we're getting along with China. China would like to have something as of this moment. We'll be meeting in a couple of weeks. We'll be meeting in South Korea.
You think
myself
will go forward?
I think so. It looks like it's going forward. I think so. They want to meet. We like to meet. I have a very good relationship with President Xi, and we're going to see what happens. But, you know, for years we were taken advantage of by China very badly. We were losing hundreds of billions of dollars a year to China. We really built their military, if you think about it. The kind of money that presidents allowed to be lost to China was just insane. And then when I came into office, as you know, I put very severe tariffs. So we took in hundreds of billions of dollars in my first term from China. Biden let that go because it was so much. He let it continue, but he gave all sorts of exceptions. And by the time you looked at it, Scott, I would say it wasn't the same thing. He would give an exception for anything. If you got up and went out to dinner, he'd give you an exception. So it wasn't the same thing. But I put on very serious tariffs. So we took in hundreds of billions of dollars. And then I left office. The election was rigged. I left office, and that was the story. Now I come back, and we are in a very strong position because of tariffs. We're in a very powerful position because of the fact that we have tariffs. If we didn't have tariffs, we would be in a very weak position. We would be in a weakened state. But with tariffs, we've made hundreds of billions of dollars, not only from China, but from others. And China wants to talk, and we like talking to China. So we have a very good relationship, and we're going to be meeting in South Korea a couple of weeks. And I just got back from a long trip. I'm going on another long trip. And Scott, do you want to say a few words on that, please?
Yes, sir. So the entire relationship stems from the great respect that the two leaders have for each other. China did a substantial, unprovoked escalation last week. We were unable to get in touch with them. Since then, it's been IMF World Bank Week. They have had working level people here who there have been meetings. The Vice Premier, who is my counterpart, and I will be speaking this evening at around 8:30, 9 o'clock. And then he and I and a delegation will meet in Malaysia probably a week from tomorrow to prepare for the two presidents to meet. So I think that things have de-escalated. We hope that China will show the respect that we have shown them. And I am confident that President Trump, because of his relationship with President Xi, will be able to get things back on a good course. Is the hope for that meeting with you and President Xi some kind
kind of trade deal then, or
Could be.
more?
Look, I think we're in a very strong position. We're getting, as you know, as of November 1st, I could move it up if I wanted, a 100% tariff over and above what we get now.
President, we got to stop there to go out. We will be back here in a few moments, but first I got to tell you about Vision Computer. If you're buying a computer, building a computer, you're upgrading a computer, they are your one-stop shop anywhere nationwide. VisionComputers.com or 404-COMPUTE. More importantly, if you need managed IT for yourself, for your home, for your company, Vision can take care of you. Now, just think about this. You are not an IT person, probably. You need to be able to get someone on the phone. You could go Googling, but God knows what you're going to find out. You might find out your computer has terminal cancer if you Google it. So why don't you just call Vision at 404-COMPUTE? Sign up with them. It's $199 a year per computer. You can do it for yourself, for your business, and your employees will get the phone number. You call, they answer the phone. You don't have to Google that your computer has some sort of terminal cancer. You call somebody in 15 seconds or less. They get on the phone and actually tell you what's going on. 404-COMPUTE or VisionComputers.com. They're going to be able to keep you up and going so you minimize loss, you maximize profit, and your company and yourself, you got peace of mind. 404-COMPUTE or VisionComputers.com. Let Vision Computers take care of your computer needs nationwide.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
So, yeah, it's true. My TV's on again, watching my beloved